purpose to go after small businesses, employees, and individuals who have not filed or paid their taxes. If this is you, don't panic, just call. Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm in St. Louis. Interest and penalties on your tax bill won't stop until you take control. Call me, Lance Drury. I'll tell you in advance an affordable fee, which includes costs and expenses that works for your business and family. Your first visit to the Lance Drury Law Firm is free and confidential, so you have nothing to lose. Call me today. Remember, if you have IRS issues, you have legal issues. You need an attorney. You need us, the Lance Drury Law Firm. Call me, Lance Drury, at 314-260-6120 or go to Lance, DRURY law.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
If you're looking to get a new dentist, I need you to check out FoleyDentalGroup.com. They are accepting new patients right now, and boy, are you in luck if you're looking for a new dentist, because these are the people you've wanted all along. If you have apprehension about going to the dentist, they understand that. They get it. A lot of people do. When you go to Foley Dental, you are going to lose that apprehension because they take care of you. And a whole part of their practice is making you as comfortable as you can possibly be. They have a different experience to offer you when you go to your dental visits. And it's a whole health approach. You go pay your dental copay or whatever your dental insurance is set up to be. And when you sit down and you listen to what they have to say about you and what they can tell from looking in your mouth about your whole health, it's incredibly valuable. They can help you with sleep disordered breathing. When you are trying to go to sleep, you're not getting rest through the night. There is a solution for you potentially at Foley Dental Group. Don't postpone this any longer. Schedule your appointment today at Foley Dental Group. You can call them at 618-288-9670, or you can visit them online at FoleyDentalGroup.com.
You don't need special gadgets to be a hero. With unlimited 1.5% cash back on every purchase everywhere, the Capital One Quicksilver Card makes you the hero of every purchase. What's in your wallet? Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Join Mark Patrick Seminars, Lose the Weight and Stop Smoking, only $49.99. Seminars Wednesday, February 1st at the Holiday Inn Express Suite St. Louis Airport in St. Louis. And Thursday, February 2nd at the 4 Points by Sheraton St. Louis, Fairview Heights in Fairview Heights. Weight Loss Seminar, 5:30 p.m. Stop Smoking Seminar, 8 p.m. Sign up at markpatrickseminars.com.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
Right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
Well, welcome to the Annie Frey Show. Happy to be with you this afternoon, the day after Martin Luther King Jr. Day. I hope you enjoyed the day off if you've got it, if you had it. If you worked yesterday, thanks for going to work. I guess that's not said as much these days as it should be. Lots taking place over the course of the weekend. And as we can, was it yesterday? Was it Friday or was it Thursday when we left the show? I think it was Thursday we left the show. And they're like, oh, that's a third set of documents in his garage.
Yeah.
Where were they in his garage? Next to his Corvette. Very interesting developments. And it doesn't seem to me like the story as it continues to unfold is getting any better for Joe Biden. Lots of concerns about what these documents are, or what they, if we'll ever know specifically what they are. But the question of why they were in his garage and the other documents as well. Why did the president, then retired vice president, why did he have those documents classified in his possession? On today's YouTube live chat poll, if you go to the Annie Frey Show YouTube page, you will see where we are live today. You can watch a show right there, and you'll see today's YouTube poll in the live chat section. President Biden's possession of classified documents at his private home is, you have three choices: incompetence, malicious, or an unintended oversight. Brad, do you have strong feelings about the answer to this question?
I was sitting here. I guess it just depends on.
You can't combine two.
Yeah, I guess it just depends on my definition of maliciousness. I don't think he was doing it to hurt the country, but I do think it was intentional.
What if he was taking advantage of the country to help himself?
Yeah, I think
that's malicious.
Yeah, that's malicious. So I would say that is my feelings on it. I would say strong feelings, maliciousness. Just like, I don't think he's trying to undermine the country. I think he was helping himself at the expense of the country.
So intentional.
Intentional, absolutely.
I'm glad you said that, because that's an important distinction. Go ahead.
Yeah, you don't accidentally take home. You know what? I don't see how you accidentally take home top secret documents and not know that they were there. You know, especially after all this stuff that I'm hearing, how they're like in different envelopes and different folders and stuff like that. And then that these weren't in those folders. Well, that means that somebody saw them in the folders and took them out of the folders. It's a big deal to me. I think, you know, and to the people that would be like, well, what about Donald Trump? I think that he knew that he was taking top secret documents home, but I think he believed he had the right to take those home because he had declassified them. So
that is a full stop, huge difference.
Mm-hmm.
Joe Biden could not be in possession of documents if they were classified. If they were declassified, I suppose he could have been.
Right.
Nobody is at this point in time making the case that the documents that Biden has are declassified. Donald Trump's distinction is they aren't classified. I declassified them. We had Mike Davis from the Article 3 Project, who is a lawyer who has worked with the Supreme Court and is, you know, well into the legal world of Washington, D.C., said, and when he was on this show with us, Mike Davis said specifically, by virtue of President Trump's actions, he was declassifying them. There's like no official record that needs to take place. And I mean, I think that he is a valuable guest and a legal expert, but I'm always like, am I asking this question the right way? Like, he can just say, I'm taking this paper home. And in his mind goes, yep, there it says classified, but when I take it home, it's not classified anymore. And then he's okay with it. And the world is okay with it. And the Constitution is okay with it. I mean, it seems to me that Mike Davis, that's what he was arguing.
Mm-hmm.
And then other people are out there like, you can't just do that. And I'm like, oh gosh, I am not a legal expert. So I don't know.
Yeah. And to Edward's question here online, he says, if we're using Trump's mine declassification defense, then what's stopping Obama from just saying he declassified Joe's documents? Well, the fact that Barack Obama has not said that.
Maybe he will.
Yeah. So if he comes out and declares that, well, that's different. But to this point, he hasn't said that. So that would be my answer to that question. Obama has not commented on this.
All of us commoners just walking around with question marks above our heads going, I don't know.
And I don't know that Obama would wade into this, because then the questions become, well, why did you declassify these documents for Joe Biden to take back to his residence?
If they're declassified, can we see them?
Yeah. Yeah, that's another question. If they're declassified, then they're not classified documents anymore. Therefore, anybody without clearance can see them.
I don't know. It's all a little sus to me. My kids downloaded Among Us. My son, 13, wanted to get Among Us on his Switch, Nintendo Switch. There are people going, he wanted to do what? Among Us is a video game. And have you played?
I've played a lot.
Give me a 3-sentence description of what Among Us is.
It's basically Clue, but it happens live. So you don't have a dead body. One of the people in the group is the imposter, and they're
on a spaceship.
They're on a spaceship. Their job is either to sabotage the spaceship or kill all the members of the crew without being found out that they're the suspect, the imposter.
This looks like a video game that was made in 1988.
Yeah, very low.
Like when you say one of the jobs is to kill all of the people, like there's no graphic nature to that whatsoever. And they walk around looking like little Pac-Man ghosts.
Yeah.
Kind of with 2 legs. So it's super basic, but they sit there. This is the one time where as an adult, and I'm having a lot of these moments lately, the one time as an adult, I know that Among Us is a big deal. I caved on letting them get it over Christmas break. It's not a new game. How old is it?
Oh gosh, it was big during COVID. So at least
2 or 3 years.
2-3 years old. Yeah.
I could see how that would be big during COVID, just like the other stupid things that became big during COVID, because we were idle hands, folks. But I caved, and my son had heard about Fortnite. Everybody was playing Fortnite, and I was very averse to him playing Fortnite. I don't like shooter games. I don't like all of that, like the Call of Duty stuff. And my husband and I had said to each other that we were not going to allow our children to play any sort of video game where you shoot people and the object is to kill people until they understand the actual reality of what a gun can do. So we prioritized taking our kids out to shoot guns. And so they know how to operate guns.
Mm-hmm.
The older two do.
Learn, understand, and respect.
Yes. Because I want them to understand this is the gun thing. This Fortnite is a video game. Call of Duty, where that's nowhere near my house right now. Call of Duty is a video game, but guns are real and they have a real impact on the world. And I want you to respect that before you are entertained by that.
Mm-hmm.
So we prioritize that. And then we started playing Fortnite in our house, and I love Fortnite. I'm not terrible at it. I'm not good at it, but I'm not terrible at it. Among Us, when that came in our house, I almost didn't want to cave to him because I didn't want to like it and want to play it myself because I don't have time to do those types of things very often. And when they were playing it, I was like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. But you said you like it.
Yeah, whenever you play it, though, like the entertainment factor of the game isn't that, you're trying, it's the debate and the deceit that comes along with it. So
I'd be good at that.
Yeah. So what ends up happening is you discover a victim, and then you call an emergency meeting and you report it, and then everybody has to get together, and then you start
because this is a social game with other real people.
Right. And you have to start debating on who you think did it and why. And that's where it gets really fun, because then you get to figure out, who's good at lying, who's not good at lying.
Oh man. So that's been playing in my house, and I just feel like Washington D.C. right now looks a little Among Us with what's going on with Joe Biden. How did the documents get there? We've got Democrats saying that they're planted,
mm-hmm.
and the Republicans are saying by Republicans, planted by Republicans, or planted by Democrats. So everybody's just looking at each other, going, I think he did it. No, I think she did it. And then there are people in the back of the room that are just sitting there smiling and watching and waiting. Those are the people I'm looking for. It's very confusing to consume all of this information about the, I just looked at this sheet, Mar-a-Lago. Did you come up with that, or is that?
I've seen that floating around the internet, and I was like,
distracted by that.
It needs to be on there.
Mar-a-Lago and Mar-a-Lago. Watching this and watching this incredibly intentionally incompetent press secretary situation. I don't know if she is the best, if Karine Jean-Pierre is the best to ever do that job, or the worst, or maybe both.
Yeah, maybe she's just the right one for the job right now.
She doesn't say anything, and when she gets pushed into a position where she is like kind of trapped in the question that she's being asked, she's done. She just leaves.
Yeah.
It's really kind of amazing. Here's Peter Ducey.
Some news this morning. We are learning there are no visitor logs chronicling who comes and goes from the president's house in Wilmington. An official at the White House counsel's office is telling me that, like every president in modern history, a personal residence is personal. They make the distinction that, unlike the previous administration, the Trump administration, they are committed at the White House to being transparent about White House visitor logs. But in terms of what Republicans on the Hill are asking for, a record of who may have been in the Wilmington residence and potentially had access to the areas where these documents were found, it does not appear that that exists. It would have to be done, it sounds like, retroactively.
So there's no visitor logs whatsoever. That's just like Hillary Clinton's. I'm sorry, there are no emails. They're nowhere. I erased them all.
I wiped it. You mean like with a cloth?
Yes. She said that in an orange suit. That's always the ironic part of that to me. It's just that what a poor choice of clothes. And I have said on this show many times that when it comes to Hillary Clinton, I really get frustrated with people in my line of work when they attack her for A, how she looks, or B, how she dresses. I don't really care about her pantsuit thing, but don't wear that color orange. Not because it's bad for your skin or makes you look bad. It's just, or maybe it's really bold. I don't know. I would encourage Donald Trump not to wear an orange suit. Or Hunter Biden. Or any of these other people who, like, there's entire groups of people who want you to be in jail. I would just say, stay away from the bright orange full jumpsuits, especially Hillary. I am super paying attention to the conversation about the documents back and forth, and I want to make sure we get to the A, criminality of it, and, well, A, constitutionality of it, B, criminality of it. There's politics to be hashed out, but it can't be the priority. If it's the priority, then everybody will run to their corners before the conversation even gets to the second sentence. We do need to hold people accountable for their actions. We do need to establish a one-tier justice system. You know the phrase, you know the thing, no one is above the law. Here's Jim Jordan.
What really jumps out at me, though, Judge, is this timeline and the lack of transparency from the White House. And you talked about this. So on November 2nd, they find classified material at the Biden Center. They don't tell anyone. On December 18th, they find classified material at the Biden garage, at their residence, and they don't tell anyone. And then on January 9th, there's a news report talking about classified material, but only at the Biden Center. The White House comes out and confirms that, but they still don't tell us about the garage, what they found on December 18th. Why didn't they just come clean right from the get-go and tell us, oh, and now we've found there's an additional 5 documents in the room adjacent to the garage at the Wilmington, at the residence. So I want to know why they kept this from us.
The constitutionality of who gets to have what documents where. That's the question that needs to be answered, because that leads us into the other questions that need to be asked. But if you don't answer that question first, you can't have more questions to follow that are out of order. Because if you want to shake your fist at Donald Trump and he could declassify all those documents, and he did, I think that the conversation ends there. And then you can just go back to hating Donald Trump for all the other reasons as you despise him. You don't really need this one. But if you go to the Joe Biden situation, we need to know why it is he had these documents. I would like to know what they're about. I remember when there were a lot of accusations being thrown out about Donald Trump, and he has the nuclear codes and he's going to sell it to our enemies overseas to enrich his family. And I've heard Republican pundits on cable news ask the same question about what Joe Biden has in these classified documents. Does he have the nuclear codes in there? And I'm like, oh, okay. I don't know if I guess turnabout's fair play, but it's tired and I'm bored by it. Just I don't know. You can't come out with what's in the classified documents. That's the whole problem, right? That you can't just be out there and say, oh, it was this, that, and the other thing, but it's classified information. If you know and I know, then everybody knows. But we can pressure the people who are in a position to oversee this to get to the bottom of what was retained by the retired Vice President Joe Biden in his private home, unprotected by Secret Service, without any visitor logs, where we are obvious to think that Hunter Biden would frequent that place. That's its own separate investigation. I mean, think about the news and information and stories and scandals and question marks and conspiracy theories that have been swirling for years now that are all really potentially tied into Mar-a-Lago, which, according to Brad, you said Balls let us know that was a Jesse Waters thing. Of course it was. Here's more from Jim Jordan.
What did Mr. Lausch do? We understand Mr. Lausch, the U.S. attorney from Illinois, was assigned to the case in early November, and then he concluded his investigation on January 5th. Well, what did he find? Right. Because we know after January 5th, they found another batch of these classified documents. So what kind of investigation was that for the first 2 months? What is the White House lawyer doing accompanying DOJ officials when they go to the Biden residence to pick up these documents? Looks to me like he just made himself a fact witness and is part of this investigation now. Why was he there? This was supposedly Biden's personal attorneys and the Department of Justice. What's the White House counsel's office doing accompanying the DOJ to his residence?
Lots of great questions, Jim Jordan. And then we get to the point where we ask all those questions. Then we have to ask who knew what when, how much, and what did they do with that information? We're going to talk about that when we come back. We're going to have a little update from Chuck Todd here. He was questioning Senator Ron Johnson from Wisconsin this weekend, and it has to do with Hunter Biden. And it comes to the crux of the issue that I'm concerned with. While the lawyers are doing the Constitution thing, which, again, going back to what I said previously, is the highest priority here. What does the Constitution allow these individual men to do? And if we have a one-tier justice system, are they being treated equitably and fairly and lawfully? But then there's another huge factor that you and I need to be paying attention to, especially us non-legal experts. We will talk about that when we come back. Go vote in the YouTube live chat poll today. President Biden's possession of classified documents at his private home is incompetence, malicious, or an unintended oversight. Get your vote in now. Leave your comments. We'll get back with more on this story when we come back.
You're listening to The Annie Frey Show on St. Louis's home for conservative talk. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
Talk about things that nobody cares. Wearing out things that nobody wears.
If you're considering an annuity as part of your retirement plan, we need to talk. Hi, I'm Bob Stockdale, Senior Vice President Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money Saturday mornings at 11 on 97.1 FM Talk. Annuities can be a useful tool for some retirement investors, but not all annuities are created equal. Every week, we meet clients who own complex annuities that don't suit their needs and, in some cases, actively undermine their retirement plan. Before you purchase an annuity, get a second opinion from the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel. Requesting a consultation is free of charge. To request a free consultation, contact us at clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com, or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member NYSE and SIPC.
LauraMichaelInsurance.com, MICHEL, LauraMichaelInsurance.com. I know Laura personally. She is very good at what she does. That's how you stay in business for over 25 years, providing people personal insurance needs and commercial insurance needs. She's in St. Charles. You have not probably thought about your insurance for some time. Do you even know who your agent is? Do you know them personally? Well, knowing my insurance agent personally is important to me. And that's why my husband and I, I didn't have a problem with the person who was my insurance agent before, but I don't even know who they are. We've inherited people when the agency sold from one person to the next. And it just gets to the point where you're just in turnkey and you don't even really pay attention to it. How do I know I'm getting the best deal? How do I know that the person who is providing me my insurance coverage cares enough about me to get me the best deal? Well, that's why I went to Laura Michael Insurance, and I hope that you will give her a chance to earn your business as well for your personal insurance needs or for your commercial insurance needs. Make sure that you reach out to her, especially if you're a contractor and you want to make sure you're protected in all of the things that an independent contractor needs to have protection from. She will help you. We are setting up to move our insurance over to Laura Michael, and I hope you will give her the chance to earn your business as well. Online at LauraMichaelInsurance.com.
Everyone here knows Diamonds Direct is the place to go for the best diamonds at the best prices. But did you know that savvy buyers from all over America, even Los Angeles and New York, now come here to buy their diamonds? These high-end shoppers have discovered that Diamonds Direct has one of America's best selections of large, rare diamonds, from 3 carats to 20 carats, all certified by the GIA, the most reputable and most trusted gem lab in the world. Because of Diamonds Direct's international connections and tremendous buying power, we're one of only a handful of jewelry stores in America that is able to offer a large selection of rare and precious GIA diamonds. In fact, Diamonds Direct's multi-million-dollar selection includes a stunning array of high-end Riviera necklaces, 20-carat tennis bracelets, and an extraordinary collection of rare, precious gemstones, rubies, sapphires, emeralds, and even the really hard-to-find fancy yellow diamonds. Come see why Diamonds Direct right here is the destination for high-end shoppers all over America. Extraordinary selection, quality, and unmatched value. Diamonds Direct, your love, our passion. DiamondsDirect.com.
Second Amendment Radio is a staple of solid firearm information on 97.1 every weekend, Saturday from 3 to 4 and Sunday from noon to 1. It's Second Amendment Radio and the great outdoors. 97.1 FM Talk. The Annie Frey Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
Let a couple years water down how I'm feeling about you. And every time we talk, every single word builds up to this moment. And I gotta convince myself I don't want it, even though I do. You could break my heart in two, but when it heals, it beats for you. I know it's forward, but it's true. I wanna hold you when I'm not supposed to, when I'm lying close to someone else.
I think we want to collect more of the data, more of the information. Are these all the documents? Are there more out there? I mean, I know the White House tried to say it was all cleared up on Thursday. Now that we find there's more documents, I think there's a lot of questions that continue to raise, and we want to get all the information possible.
Yeah, did we get 100% of these documents from Joe Biden? Of course we didn't. If I would just I was always under the assumption, whatever, unless Donald Trump at Mar-a-Lago he had a skiff, he had a place specifically for secure things at Mar-a-Lago. He has Secret Service protection there. There was an ongoing conversation between Donald Trump and the National Archives about the fact that he had certain things in his possession, and they were just arguing back and forth. And then they raided his home. And they got these documents, and then they later came out and said that the documents retained the so-called classified documents that were retained by Donald Trump were much more about ego than they were about harming the United States. There was no like state secrets that were in the possession of Donald Trump. It was more, he felt like he should have these things and had the right to have them. Which sounds a lot like Donald Trump. I mean, honestly, like in the context of what we know about this man, make me is kind of a philosophy of his. It's not hard to imagine him saying, no, these are mine, and just kind of being like, talk to my lawyers about it, and then just dragging it out forever. The YouTube live chat poll today is President Biden's possession of classified documents at his private home is incompetence, malicious, or unintended oversight. I want to know what you think about that and your comments. I don't care where you are on the aisle. I don't care where you are on Joe Biden. Would love to know what your thoughts are on this, and you can leave us some comments, and we'll get an update from Hannah. I know there's several comments coming in. Hannah, hopefully, I'm sure she's listening to the show right now, sitting outside.
She's a huge fan.
Huge fan of the show. Doesn't miss a show. Although I think she'll be gone Friday. Is that right?
Yeah, she's gone Friday.
We'll get some. Ryan Wiggins is out today, so we'll get an update on what people are saying on the poll at 12:45.
Okay.
And follow up with the results at 2:45 when we always do. Jonathan Turley is reacting to this. He's a great legal mind, a legal expert. Andy McCarthy is on tomorrow.
Yeah, Andy McCarthy tomorrow at 1:25. I'm sorry, I got to do the Eastern to.
Yeah, for sure. 1:25?
1:25.
All right. Well, Andy McCarthy is going to join us at 1:25 p.m. tomorrow to talk about these Biden classified documents in his garage. Can't wait to hear what he says about that. Let's listen to what Jonathan Turley's reaction is.
What was the role of these private lawyers? But that question gets far more serious after November 2nd. So after November 2nd, they have found highly classified documents. And the indication has been that at least some of these lawyers did not have clearances. And what was really surprising is in the last discovery, where they said they overlooked some documents, one of the attorneys said that the prior attorneys did not have clearances. Well, that means that almost 2 months later, you were still using uncleared attorneys looking for documents that you know have contained highly classified documents.
Now, it's not really fair for me to play that clip right there and talk about having having lawyers looking for more documents that actually don't have the clearance, because that really pushes this poll this way into incompetence, I think. Or maybe you hear malice. Here's more from Jonathan Turley.
The other question is why it was overlooked. Most classified documents are within a folder that has a broad border, and over the top are these sort of all cap statement of the classification. it's hard to miss. I've worked with classified documents for 30 years. The only reason you would miss that is if it was taken out of its folder. And that would be a very serious thing here when they're arguing inadvertence. If someone took a classified document out of a folder, they clearly knew it was classified and that it was at these locations.
I would assume, and if you listen to Jonathan Turley talking right there, they make a pretty big effort to identify documents as classified. So it's not like they just get in the midst of your papers and you're like, oh my gosh, these are the nuclear codes. That's not how this goes.
How horrible would that be if that's how we actually handled our classified documents? It's just papers sitting out. It's like, well, this is a skiff-ish.
Yes.
It's the Oval Office.
It'd be like hiding the nuclear codes on page 3 of Google. Nobody's looking there. Just put them. They always say Donald Trump never read it. Didn't they say he never read his report? Like they'd give him documents, reports or briefs or whatever.
Yeah,
and
and they said
he didn't read it. He's like, just come in here and tell me about it. The nuclear codes are on page 3 of the Daily Brief. I don't know. But the classified documents are going to be marked as such. So it's not like the thought of them being just casually in between all the bills that you got to pay on a daily basis. Like, oh my gosh. So that's what's going on in Iran. That's not the way this goes. In my house, I've talked about this before on the show. I detest mail. Can't remember what you said about it. Do you have
all I ever get is junk mail anymore.
I've worked to get all my bills online, but you still get a bill here and there. But oh my gosh, there's nothing worse than going to the mailbox. There's never like a check in the mail, like, oh, the check's in the mail to you. No, they just want checks from you. So then we get the mail. We don't get it very often. And it's at the end of our driveway. And the mail comes into the house. And then you have the mail place where you put the unopened mail and you're like, I'll get to that later, which never happens. So then the next batch of mail, when you go get the mail the next time, that sits on top of the other mail. And in between there is classified documents. I mean, that's kind of what we're being led to believe here from the Biden administration. Oh, it just got mixed in.
Shuffled in. And
the Trump situation doesn't seem to be that way. They're not arguing like, oh, we had no idea. Going back to what we said before, understanding who Donald Trump is, he's like, these are mine. I'm taking them. I'm putting them in a secure location. Fight me. That's the Donald. It seems to me that's what I'm gathering is the Donald Trump mentality on this. What ends up happening at the end of this? How broadly disastrous could this be? Or go back to our YouTube poll, which you can go vote in if you go find us on YouTube, Annie Frey, Frey. Is it an unintended oversight? Does the possibility exist that while things were moved out of the vice president's office in 2017, that a classified document just happened to go into a moving box? And in my mind, I don't think that Joe Biden is the one packing up his office. I don't think Joe Biden's like, well, I'll just take all these documents here and put them in this tote. I'll put these next to the Corvette. I don't think that that's how this goes. Could it be an unintended oversight? Could it be incompetence on somebody else's part? And of course, Joe Biden doesn't know anything about it. I guess, yes, all of the above. Everybody is asking the right questions, though, and these questions deserve answers. Hunter Biden is a national security concern. You know how we know? Because he's under investigation. He's a concern. You investigate a concern, you find out what that concern is, and then you decide at the end of that investigation and truth-seeking endeavor, you find out, is there something we need to do here? Do we need to mitigate this concern? Are concerns alleviated because we sought out the truth and discovered this wasn't as bad as we thought it was? Other than the people doing the investigating in our, public federal investigation firms, who else is responsible for finding the truth and exposing it for all of the world to see, or at least the United States? Who could possibly be tasked and who could benefit in their careers by seeking out information to tell the American people about the truth that they've discovered?
Senator, do you have a crime that you think Hunter Biden committed? Because I've yet to see anybody explain it is not a crime to make money off your last name.
So, Chuck, you ought to read the Marco Polo report where they detail all kinds of potential crimes.
Chuck Todd is asking a United States senator if there have been any crimes committed by actually Hunter, saying that if Hunter Biden made money because his last name is Biden, that in and of itself is not a crime. And Senator Johnson's like, why don't you read the freaking report? And Chuck Todd's not going to read the report because he doesn't want to know what the report says, because if he doesn't know what the report says, obviously nobody's going to hold him in the media accountable for getting to the bottom of this. Is he on MSNBC?
Chuck Todd?
Yeah.
I think he's just NBC.
NBC?
Yeah.
I don't know, and I don't care. He's just Chuck Todd to me. Are there any reporters in the entire NBC news media empire? Are there any reporters that care to answer that question? Or does the United States senator who's on a committee in government have to be the one to uncover the answers to those questions? Is there anybody at NBC who wants to investigate what Hunter Biden did and the connections that are there that might be of interest to the American people? Because right now it would be as big of a story to investigate all of those questions and prove that Hunter Biden wasn't a security risk to the country. That would be a magnificent story, but you'd have to be willing to go further than asking the question in a snarky, snotty, Chuck Todd-like way to Senator Ron Johnson from Wisconsin. Yes, you have to say the whole thing. Maybe somebody out there in the media could do their job. And you're saying, oh, Annie, they're not going to do their job. They don't even know what their job is anymore. I know, but I can still hold them accountable. The idea that you would have reporters that would go out there and say, wow, people are raising questions as to whether or not the son of the president of the United States is making bajillions of dollars off of improper relationships with China and Ukraine and who knows who else across the globe. There are more than enough connections that you can draw if you know a little information about who Hunter Biden is and how dumb he is, and how much of an addict he is, that has caused him to put himself into a position where we have a trove of information from his own laptops, plural. We have all of this, and Chuck Todd has the cojones on NBC to say this, like, can you prove that there's a crime here? That's Chuck Todd's question. Fox News reports one of the signatories of the now discredited open letter attempting to discredit the findings from the Hunter Biden laptop made a stunning admission more than 2 years after it surfaced in the public eye. Douglas Wise, a former Defense Intelligence Agency deputy director and former CIA operations officer, was among over 50 former intel officials who claimed that the content of the laptop first reported by the New York Post in October of 2020, quote, has all the classic earmarks of Russian information operation. But in an interview with The Australian, published Sunday, Wise now admits most of what was found in the reported emails had to be based in reality. This is what he told The Australian. Quote, all of us figured that a significant portion of that content had to be real to make any Russian disinformation credible. According to The Australian, Wise had no regret signing onto the letter and said it was, quote, no surprise that the emails were genuine. What? October of 2020, significant on the timeline, in the history of the United States. October 2020, this email comes up. These emails come up. The laptop comes up. It's washed out. It's like the little flashy thing they use in Men in Black. Nope, doesn't exist. Not here. Don't think about this whatsoever. 2 years later, you've got people who are signing on saying that this was Russian disinformation. They're going, oh, of course. Of course the emails are true. Of course this stuff is real. Has to be. November 3rd, they know that there are documents in the possession of Joe Biden in his private residence, also in at the Penn Biden Center, first and foremost. We don't hear about that before the election. All that matters to these people is politics. Win the election, retain the power, make the money, we'll figure out the rest later. Where do you come into that equation? Seems to me that these people think that you're stupid enough to keep voting in the same people, to keep supporting the same party, and to keep allowing doofs like Chuck Todd to grill Senator Ron Johnson from Wisconsin on, well, are there any crimes committed? Like, what a clown. Is there nobody else in your building that you can ask? Is there, what? Put a tent on this circus. Is there nobody else that you can go to who could get to the bottom of that question? Because Chuck Todd, if you did that, if you brought reporters onto your show and proved through actual journalistic integrity in reporting that Hunter Biden was squeaky clean, good luck. That would be the story of the year. I bet you can't do it. I challenge you. Let's take a quick break and we'll get to some of the results and comments from the YouTube live chat poll for today. Hannah will come in here and read some of these reactions that you've had so far. Give us an update on where the poll stands right now at 12:45, and then we will do the same at 2:45 as we usually do when the show ends. President Biden's possession of classified documents at his private home is incompetence, malicious, and unintended oversight. Go give us your vote on the poll and let us know why you think. We'll get a mix of your reactions when we come back. Don't go away.
Conversations, overthinking every word, and I hate it because it's not me.
This is the Annie Frey Show. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Frey Show.
You could break my heart in two, but when it heals, it beats for you. I know it's forward, but it's true.
I'm Brian Westbrook with Coalition Life. Over the past decade, Coalition Life has served thousands of women in crisis pregnancies, helping to save the lives of the children they carry. Help us build a better community while also reducing or completely eliminating your Missouri taxes with a 70% tax credit. A $1,000 donation today to help these women could cost you as little as $141 out of pocket. Learn more at coalitionlife.com, coalitionlife.com. Thank you.
Michael's Flooring Outlet is available for you to shop and to look and to research, because any good consumer does their research by going to their website at igotfloored.com. I'll talk about this a little bit later in the show, but my husband and I spent a good portion of the weekend going through every bedroom, every closet, every article of clothing that the 6 people in our house have, and getting rid of everything that doesn't fit. When you've got little kids and you're trying to move people in and out of sizes and they're growing like weeds, it's incredibly difficult. Anyway, we cleaned up the whole upstairs of the house. It's like spotless. And we were looking at our floors. And I said to my husband, the next thing we do, the next improvement we make on this house is going to be flooring. And I was thinking about Michael's Flooring Outlet, and I was thinking about when I've looked at their website and look at their different products, knowing that they have the top quality and everything, but great value. That's what the Frey family needs. To be able to go and talk to somebody and say, here, we are in the hall, we have carpet right now, thinking maybe we would like to do something that has a hardwood look, something that's a hard surface, but it needs to be able to withstand a bunch of feet walking on it all the time, and it needs to be able to withstand a 2-year-old that's going to try to ruin it every day when she wakes up. I think that's her goal. I need Michael's Flooring Outlet to come to me and say, this is the type of flooring that can stand even the Frey family. That's why I trust them. And I hope you'll give them the opportunity to talk to you about your flooring needs. Learn all about it online at igotfloored.com.
Jewels on Hampton in St. Louis Hills is paying some of the highest prices on gold, silver, diamonds, semi-precious colored stones, and fine watches on site. Jewels on Hampton is a premier jeweler with an exquisite selection of diamonds, semi-precious stone jewelry, and vintage watches. Their expert design team can restyle your jewelry to today's contemporary style. They also do jewelry and watch repair. Need extra cash? Jewels on Hampton is paying some of the highest prices on gold, silver, diamonds, semi-precious colored stones, and fine watches. Bring your collectibles and clocks, sports memorabilia, and figurines too. Jewels on Hampton, 4506 Hampton, just 3 blocks south of Chippewa. Call them at 314-752-5000. That's 314-752-5000. So if you need some extra cash, looking for that one-of-a-kind piece, make Jewels on Hampton your first stop. Jewels on Hampton in St. Louis Hills.
There's a lot to be done, and we're opening the door this year to you to get involved in things that matter. Conservatives Care is a new 97.1 monthly action plan to change your neighborhoods and our nation, one project at a time. In January, we're inviting you to join us in the Missouri USO in serving our troops. Volunteer at Lambert Airport to serve soldiers in transit, or in special event opportunities by visiting missouri.uso.org. Conservatives Care, a new initiative from 97.1.
Annie Frey here. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, call my friend Thomas Helbig with the Retirement Advisory Group, 314-993-9494. He'll show you strategies on how to participate in the market gains without ever losing a penny. Thomas is the official financial advisor of the Annie Frey Show. You're listening to the Annie Frey Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Air Comfort Service is hiring licensed journeymen. Don't have a journeyman license? Air Comfort Service will help you get it. Get guaranteed hours year-round and more. Apply online at aircomfortservice.com.
You're listening to award-winning, thought-provoking talk. You're listening to 97.1 FM Talk.
Your home for conservative talk.
On the air for over 20 years.
To trust your instinct.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Frey Show.
That's your best bet. Watch me now with a wicked and wild, and I say, come with a funky style that gets us on for the show. And we'll fix a hip hop figure if we say it is so. Can't say it's because it don't mean a thing. This is what style we bring.
Welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. Sorry, we're a little late there. Brad and I were just discussing we're hoping to bring Tom Brady to the Battlehawks.
It sounds crazy, but we manifested Albert Pujols to the Cardinals.
Tom Brady, you've done it all in the NFL.
Yeah.
What can you do in the XFL?
Yeah.
That would be so cool.
Come out here and be the best quarterback to have ever won 2 championships in 2 different leagues.
Best XFL player.
You don't even have to play quarterback. You can be whatever you want to be. You should change positions every quarter. Start as the quarterback, then he's the kicker, then he's the hype man.
Mascot.
And then you could be defensive coordinator in the 4th quarter if you're tired. I don't care. Wouldn't that be, guys, people are listening like, did you hear this news talk lady talking about possibly bringing Tom Brady to the Battlehawks? Like, you think I'm serious. I'm really serious. You were right. I've never been more serious about anything in my life. Started the conversation right here. Tom Brady.
Yeah. Mark the tapes.
To the Battlehawks. Wow. He could play for another 10 years.
Yeah.
It would be amazing. Everyone's like, that's so stupid. I hope it happens. Same.
Dream big.
Samesies. The YouTube live chat poll. We're going to do a quick 12:45 segment update. Ryan Wiggins is on vacation today. So Hannah, tell us the YouTube live chat poll and give us some comments and an update so far.
Today's YouTube live chat poll is asking President Biden's possession of classified documents at his private home is incompetence, malicious, or unintended oversight. Jimmy said that he voted incompetence, but it's more like ignorance. They think that Americans are stupid, therefore do whatever they want, or they do whatever as the Democrats want. Joseph Hagood from YouTube said, absolutely malicious. Of course he knew they were there, or he did once upon a time. Family from YouTube said regarding the poll, it could be any of the 3. The fact that it definitely could be malicious or incompetence says a lot about the president. I think that's a great comment.
Malicious incompetence sounds like a legal phrase.
Once again, the YouTube poll is asking President Biden's possession of classified documents at his private home is incompetence, malicious, or an unintended oversight. Pond said unintentionally caught being incompetent. Mix. All right. Oh, this one's funny. Craig said, I meant to say malicious, but accidentally hit unintentional. Thank you, Craig. Now our whole YouTube poll is jacked up because of you.
Now it's not scientific.
No.
What does that make the margin of error?
STVB said incompetence, and it really takes some stink off of Trump's issue, although they are different in the response once found.
I love how sad all the Democrats are that they don't have this on Trump anymore. Because I don't know how much we covered the Mar-a-Lago stuff. It was kind of annoying to me because I needed to know. I like to know what the facts are. And I'm okay with saying, wow, Trump super in the wrong here. But it didn't ever feel like Trump was super in the wrong there. It seemed like it was a legal battle. And you can't really jump into the middle of a legal battle while people are making their cases. And it just, if like when you watch the Johnny Depp trial, if you did, we only watched it, like literally we only watched it because it was on the TV here every day.
Oh
and
my
we didn't
gosh.
listen to it, but
It
we
felt
just
like
watched
forever
it.
ago.
Yeah. You thought like when you were listening to, what's her name? Amber Heard. Is that her name?
Yes.
I was afraid that was like somebody I went to high school with, and I switched up the names.
Amber Heard.
You're thinking, oh, well, when she gets up on the stand, she's going to make a really compelling case. But she was so annoying to look at. It just never felt that compelling. So you're watching
The
people
memes that came out of that.
You're watching people go back and forth on the Trump stuff, and then when the Biden comes up, it's too messy now for Trump haters to go there anymore. You just got to stop. You got to put it down and walk away. I'm so sad for you. I'm laughing.
You know, it's funny too, because whenever you're listening to the pundits react to it, and I say pundits, and I also include The View in the pundits, there was like it was physical pain on them. They're like, oh, this means that Trump's going to get, what was it Joy Behar said? We had him. We were this close. And then this happens.
And she thinks it's fishy. I think it's a lot fishy. Give us the results so far, Hannah.
Let me get those up. Do you want to share with people?
So YouTube live chat poll, go to the Andy Frey YouTube channel. President Biden's possession of classified documents at his private home is incompetence, malicious, or an unintended oversight. I guess I'll define a little bit what malicious is. Malicious basically means on purpose for a personal reason that benefits himself in any way. So intentional and self-aggrandizing. And, you know, when Trump's documents were the source of conversation, people are like, he's got the nuclear codes. I mean, I guess that's included in malicious. That would be pretty malicious.
Yeah.
But if he takes them home and he's using them for malintent, then that's what we're talking about as well.
Currently, incompetence is leading with 55% of the votes.
Boy, if that's not a phrase to be repeated.
Malicious follows with 36%, and unintended oversight is 9%. So we have 107 votes so far.
A majority consensus in the moment that it is incompetence.
Yes.
That's so funny.
I still am wanting to hear more comments, especially people who said unintended oversight. I'd be curious of why you would think that.
Was Steph Curry just at the White House?
What?
Who was that? It was. Was that Steve Kerr and Steph Curry?
Might have been. I'll have to go back and look.
Yeah, we might update you on that when we come back. We might find out what it is and know that you don't care. Let's talk to Jim Carafano.
If you've been thinking about vision correction in the new year, there's no better time to get it than right now. Mark Cox, for my friends at Brenton Vision, they have everything you need to help achieve that crisp, clear vision you deserve. Call them at 314-375-2020 or go online at brentonvision.com. Brenton is the home to the only team in Missouri to perform all 7 FDA-approved forms of modern vision correction. That's modern LASIK, permanent contact lenses, and if you have bad reading vision, they even have treatments for that too. Do what our friend Jessica from O'Fallon, Missouri did. Go to Brenton Vision for a consultation. See what you're a candidate for. Jessica told us to be able to see clearly without the use of glasses is such an incredible feeling. So if bad vision is standing in your way, call Brenton Vision, 314-375-2020, or schedule right now at brentonvision.com. That's brentonvision.com.
Aircomfortservice.com is the website. I want to make sure that you understand all the things that go into your HVAC system. Not something that I really pay attention to in my house, and I have learned a lot more about the HVAC situation that was in our home. We have it's not an old home. It's built in, I guess, 23, 24 years ago or something like that. And we got to the point where things started to break down. 20 years in, the life of the appliances in our home and whatever else it is starting to need to be replaced. The HVAC system was definitely one of those things. And I had an AeroSeal duct sealing done in our home by Air Comfort Service. They came to the house. They measured how much of the air was leaking out of the ventilation before it would even get to the vent to put it in the room where that air belongs, the warm air, the cool air. Made an incredible difference in the equalizing of the heating and the cooling on all the different floors of our house. Give them a call and set up an appointment today for this service for your home. You can go to aircomfortservice.com.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ziprecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job in ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
KFTK FM Florissant. From the Under Law Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com studio. 97.1 FM Talk. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
They'll respond in good faith. Lisa Brady, Fox News. That pledge from the White House as the new Republican chair of the House Oversight Committee presses for more information about the handling of classified materials found at an office previously used by the president and at one of his Delaware homes.
James Comer says we will continue to press the Biden administration for answers about who had access to these classified documents and why Biden aides were permitted to rummage through the Wilmington residence after the appointment of a special counsel.
Fox's Peter Ducey, a White House spokesman, says they're reviewing letters from the Oversight Committee and warning there's a risk of incomplete answers if there's public discourse during an ongoing Justice Department probe, also accusing Republicans of engaging in political stunts. Ongoing help for Ukraine topping the agenda in a meeting between President Biden and the Dutch leader.
Recent airstrikes by Russia targeting a Ukrainian apartment building is only strengthening Western resolve, Dutch Prime Minister Mark Rutte said, sitting alongside President Biden.
Can never accept that Putin and Russia get away with it.
The Prime Minister says the Netherlands intends to join other allies in sending Patriot missile defense systems to Ukraine and will spend $2.5 billion this year on Ukraine aid. President Biden credited the Netherlands with ensuring a coherent European response.
Russia is just continuing to act in ways that are almost unbelievable.
The two leaders are also expected to talk about trade and computer chip manufacturing.
Fox's Jared Halpern at the White House. A mass shooting at a Martin Luther King Day celebration is now a murder investigation. One of the 8 people shot at a park in Fort Pierce, Florida yesterday has died. Sheriff's officials suspect a dispute between 2 rival gangs may have led to the start of gunfire with dozens of shots fired. A sell-off continues on Wall Street for the Dow, at least. It's down more than 300 points, but the S&P and the NASDAQ are higher. America is listening to Fox News.
I've had COVID.
Me too.
But I didn't know you could get it again.
What? And if you're 50 or older?
Or have a chronic condition like heart disease or diabetes. Getting COVID again could get really serious, even deadly.
That's why getting an updated COVID vaccine is so important.
COVID isn't going away anytime soon, but I can lower my risk.
And I'm up for that. We can do this. Find updated COVID vaccines near you at vaccines.gov. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
My heart was racing just making spaghetti. I could have waited to tell my doctor, but I didn't wait.
I was short of breath just reading a book. I could have delayed telling my doctor, but I didn't wait.
They told their doctors and found out they have atrial fibrillation, a condition which makes it about 5 times more likely to have a stroke. If you have one or more of these symptoms, irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness, this is no time to wait. Contact your doctor.
Brought to you by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Fire.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Our high temperature this afternoon should top out at about 55 degrees with plenty of sunshine out there. Really quite nice. Tonight, increasing clouds, but all is dry, 38. Wednesday, a cloudy day. Rain for the afternoon. Could even be a rumble of thunder. All rain, though. 49 degrees. Rain ends quickly Wednesday evening. And Thursday, partly sunny and 45. Around 42 Friday and Saturday. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Keep it here for the real news. This is St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
Mark Cox, Brian Kilmeade, Annie Frey, Mark Reardon, and Dana Lash on 97.1 FM Talk.
Sweetheart, sugar, cutie pie. Love is sweet. Your Valentine's Day gift should be too. Visit Shane Company for unique fine jewelry. It's a great way to show your special someone how well you know them and that you love everything about them. With our amazing selection of colorful gemstones, why not select a style with their favorite color? We have natural sapphires in every color of the rainbow, rubies as red as a rose, topaz as blue as the sky. Or tell your love story with a charm necklace. Choose from dozens of symbolic charms. Get a zodiac charm because your stars are aligned, or a compass charm because you're on a journey together. You could also select an engravable style, like a beautiful locket or a gold bar necklace. We'll inscribe a message on it, a love note to your Valentine. At Shane Company, we have so many easy ways to make your gift more personal. For more ideas, talk to a jewelry consultant today. Your Valentine's Day gift will be a treat.
Now you have a friend in the jewelry business. Shane Company and Shaneco.com.
If you own a home in St. Louis and you want to sell it as is, without any inspections or the need to make any repairs, call Chris Buys Homes, stlouis.com at 314-782-8000 and get your cash offer without any obligation, commissions, banks, or headaches. Chris buys vacant homes, inherited homes, fixer-uppers, beautiful homes, even the tenant who won't pay the rent apartment. Google us, Chris Buys Homes in St. Louis, and check out our best reviews from satisfied customers. When you sell to Chris, you decide when you want to move according to your schedule and your terms. Go to our website, chrisbuyshomes.stlouis.com, or call Chris at 314-782-8000. That's 314-782-8000, and get the offer you've been waiting for. 314-782-8000.
I'm Brian Westbrook with Coalition Life. Over the past decade, Coalition Life has served thousands of women in crisis pregnancies, helping to save the lives of the children that they carry. Help us build a better community while also reducing or completely eliminating your Missouri taxes with a 70% tax credit. A $1,000 donation today to help these women could cost you as little as $141 out of pocket. Learn more at coalitionlife.com, coalitionlife.com. Thank you.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
Right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
The numbers have not yet been officially released, but CBP sources say that in the month of December, there were 250,000 migrant encounters. If we go now to our sky drone high above Eagle Pass, overlooking the bridge to Piedras Negras, you can see one of the hot spots here. They say in December, there was 110 different countries represented in that 250,000 of migrant encounters.
Jim Carafano,
These are dangerous times.
Vice President for Foreign and Security Policy at Heritage.
So Jim Carafano joining us now. I don't know that you and I have spoken since President Biden made his visit to the southern border, or at least been able to assess what was the benefit or the fallout from that. Welcome back to the show, Jim. Great to have you here.
Yeah, it's interesting because it was all about politics. I mean, the president avoided the border like the plague literally for 2 years.
And it was really the result of the midterm elections where his party frankly did far better than he thought. And he really felt that he was at the height of his authority, having delivered on all his domestic agenda to his party. And he felt like he could put this one to bed, where he could actually go to the border, just ignore all the issues and just say, hey, I'm the president, blah, 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 and walk away and take off the table for Republicans who've never been to the border thing, and just like with everything, try to turn this into a really Republican problem. So that really reflected a president who thought he was the height of his powers, who thought everything was working, going his way. Fast forward a week with this document drop, and it actually shows that his grasp on the party and political power is actually quite fragile. And so immigration and border security, rather than just being another issue you could just park to the side, like energy prices and inflation and everything else, I think is still has the potential to be a real Achilles heel. But I got to tell you, you were the only show, and you know me, I do national radio every week and do a number of different shows over the country. You have never let this issue go more than anybody else. And you were, I think, the first really to grasp that this could really transform the nature of this country, who we are. This is really the true Trojan horse of American politics. And you've been on it since day one. So, kudos to you for that.
Well, Jim, you're part of I don't know the answers to these questions. I have a lot of questions. And I do think it's really important that we keep them at the forefront, regardless of what the other news cycle is bearing each and every day. The southern border could be the leading story in every newscast, and could have been for the last 2 years plus. There are so many different consequences to us ignoring this problem, which to me, politically speaking, the Biden administration, they're not ignoring it. They have to know that it's going on. There's no way that they cannot know that it's going on. They're investing in it. And the drug situation, I mean, I've talked to police officers right here in the metro St. Louis area, the suburbs, and in some of the impoverished areas, especially in St. Louis. They talk about MS-13. It's here. The drugs are here. The consequences of an open border are here. And I don't think that is something that people really, truly grasp, especially if they're living the suburban life and they might dip into the city for work or for a business meeting. But the impoverished areas around this country are being plagued with the consequences of no action on the southern border.
Yeah, I mean, and this, but look, this is what makes for like truly great talk radio. It's the kind of thing that Rush Limbaugh would do, which is you get an issue that's important and you hammer it away and understand it, peel it back like an onion and really work to inform people. That's what this medium really offers, rather than just being about the issue of the day. So again, it's so important. And your point is really right, though. It's just like, and this is the thing, every day, potentially, this administration can go to bed and they can wake up and this could be the issue that can completely blow up in their face. I mean, we have illegal people entering this country from over 100 countries all over the world. We are one terrorist attack away from a really bad day that the administration will have difficulty explaining away.
It's terrifying. As a mom, it's terrifying. We're speaking with Jim Carafano, the Vice President for Foreign and Security Policy at Heritage. I'm mentioning in this instance, just day after day after day in St. Louis, murders, kids getting shot by stray bullets, drugs have infiltrated all over the place and they're overtaking areas just like St. Louis all across the country. Crime is rampant. And I want to play this clip for you from the president and get your reaction to while we see on our streets crime increasing, this is what President Biden's focusing on.
To emphasize de-escalation. We have to retrain cops as to why should you always shoot with deadly force. The fact is, if you need to use your weapon, you don't have to do that. And look, to call a fresh approach to recruit, how we hire, how we train, how we promote, and how we retain and law enforcement.
We don't even understand who the true victims are in crimes across the country. We don't care for them. I'm curious, Jim, why you think that shift against law enforcement and to create victims out of the criminals, why is that so important to this moment in time?
Well, I mean, this has been president, basically Biden, bought the presidency by essentially willing to come in and take the entire liberal narrative line and just repeat it every day, like he's reading off a script. And I think what the midterm election showed is he can get away with that. He can keep doing that. He can run for president from the basement, get elected. He can rule that way and get through. And he seems, excuse me, you know what time of year it is? It's the time of year Jim gets allergies. So,
bless you.
Sorry. Anyway, and I think he walked away from the midterms thinking, he can just keep playing his shtick, but it's going to blow up in his face someday, just like, and who knows what it's going to be. Maybe it'll be a horrific crime. Maybe it'll be a terrorist attack. Maybe it'll be something else. But the day is coming. I mean, when you have the mayor of New York go to the border and say, this is untenable, I mean, that's a real red flag.
Yeah.
So,
I'm looking, I live in the state of Illinois. I commute across the Mississippi River each day into St. Louis. It's kind of an interesting situation. I live in a blue state. I work in a red state, but I actually physically am located right now in St. Louis City. And crime is, it's just part of our existence. It's like the air we breathe. It just is. You don't even think about it anymore. And all of these individual crimes that are taking place in cities just like St. Louis across the country, I have to think that there is a feeling of being emboldened when you have district attorneys that don't want to
right.
criminalize crime. They want to victimize criminals. That has to be a part of an attitude. I mean, there's clearly a political investment that's being made across the country to move this attitude forward. But it is so sad to look at the acceptance of just the way things are in city after city after city, that crime exists, murders happen, children are caught in the middle of it, and politically it doesn't even draw attention. And then you look at the southern border in conjunction with that and you think, look at that crime that's taking place. If that doesn't get their attention, why would these little crimes across our country do anything different?
I mean, we've seen this before. We saw it in the 60s and 70s, and we saw it in other places. And you're right. It's almost like people just come to believe it's part of their existence. And these politicians, when they're not held accountable for it, they just keep doing what they're doing. And they look at people and say, well, it's not. I mean, look at Lightfoot in Chicago, which is probably the penultimate example. Like a city that is literally under siege, and she just looks at it, well, it's not my fault. And people just accept it. Like, yeah, I mean, look at Biden's at the border. It was like, well, it's not my fault. And when it absolutely is, it's absolutely their policies. And they just something one day it just triggers it, and it just people wake up like they're in a slumber. But this is the great tragedy, which is how many people have to die from opioid overdoses? How many people have to die at the border? How many people have to be subjected to human trafficking and rape and murder and everything else before people just wake up one day and go, what the heck is going on here? But this is the thing. This is not a natural disaster. This is not climate change. This is not the temperature changing. This is human suffering created by human policies, and only happening because of policies that people specifically put in place, which are creating human misery. And it only stops when those policies stop. The mayor of New York went to the border and said, this is intolerable. But then he turned right around and said, and the problem is in Washington. He goes, well, we need immigration reform, which of course is nonsense. We don't need immigration reform. We need border security and enforcing the immigration laws.
Do you think that the Republican majority in the House can make an actual measurable difference when that's all they have, just the House?
Well, I do think they can, because I do think they can draw a lot of attention to this issue of the abuses of government. And look, I think there's so many, I know people say, well, this is just partisan. These are just people. But no, these people have weaponized government against Americans. And it is such a target-rich environment, whether it is tech industry or on immigration and border security, or where they have just used the federal government to put policies in place that have just created misery for the American people. And this Congress, I feel very strongly, this House, they're going to expose that. And there is so much there to be exposed. I mean, you've already seen, if you actually read the articles of impeachment that were drawn up against Mayorkas, it is shocking. I mean, and these are factual. These aren't wild claims like with Trump. I mean, these are actual factual claims. It is shocking what is going on. The amount of money that they have taken and given to nonprofit organizations and federal taxpayers' money they have used to basically import illegal immigrants in an unprecedented space. When people see the facts on this, I mean, they're just not going to believe it.
We're speaking with Jim Carafano. He's the Vice President for Foreign and Security Policy at the Heritage Foundation. Well, let me put it this way. You have said on the show many times that when the presidential election, the 2024 election begins, and we're not quite to where I would say that it's really off to the races quite yet. President Biden has to make an announcement about a reelection or not. But you have said that the border is going to be the issue. There are a lot of things that are plaguing Americans right now, the economy certainly being one of them. But the border issue is huge, and you got to get people to talk about it and to know about it and to ask the important questions about it. Do you still think that that issue is going to be as impactful on the 2024 presidential election as you previously thought?
Well, I do. And I think the election will be impactful on the outcomes because I don't think there's a middle ground here. I don't think there's let's just all meet in the middle. I think this is between open borders and enforcing immigration law and border security. And I don't think there's a middle ground to that. I just don't believe there's a political middle ground. I think this is a black and white choice that Americans are going to have to pick one or the other.
Well, you've been on it with us for this entire time, and it's so important that it does stay front of mind for people. And I know that people are concerned about it, which is why your expertise is always welcome here. Thank you for being with us, Jim. Always great to talk to you.
All right. Thanks for having me.
Yep.
Good talking to you.
Do it again next week. Vice President for Foreign and Security Policy at the Heritage Foundation, Jim Carafano. Always love speaking with him. And he said some very nice things about this show. Grateful for that, of course. I want to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about another foreign policy concern that many people have, but in kind of a different capacity, TikTok and TikTok challenges. Killing people, literally taking lives. We'll discuss that and the question about children and having devices and what is to be on their device and all of the repercussions that come from that. When we come back, go vote on the Annie Frey YouTube live chat poll. President Biden's possession of classified documents at his private home is incompetence, malicious, or an unintended oversight. Join us on the Annie Frey YouTube channel and the chat. Vote in the poll. We'll be back in a minute.
The Annie Frey Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
What if everything you got came with a little bit of money? Spicy chicken ramen with a side of quarters, a full tank of gas, and a $5 bill, an entire pantry's worth of groceries, and a pocket full of cash. Well, then you'd be living life on the upside. The first platform that gives you real cash back in real life wherever you roll. Restaurants, grocery stores, gas stations, all cash back opportunities. So order the expensive appetizer, buy a little extra at the store. Fill your gas tank till the pump stops. Because with Upside, you can. Start earning cash back just for doing you. Download the free Upside app and use promo code SPICY for an extra $10 cash back on your first purchase of $10 or more. That's promo code SPICY. Promo code SPICY. SPICY for an extra $10 on the free Upside app. Start living life on the upside with the free Upside app.
Mark Cox here. Join me, Annie Frey, and Mark Reardon, along with Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw for the next Protecting Your Retirement educational event. It's Tuesday, January 24th at the Frontenac Hilton at 6:30. Seats are limited, so go online today at retirementkey.com. Here's Thomas with more.
Are you nearing retirement or already retired and concerned about losing even more money this year in your retirement accounts? Did you know if you're 59 and a half or older, you can now roll over your 401k tax-free to protect your nest egg from any more losses and still generate more income than most investment options? Would you like to know why our clients have not lost a penny with all the market volatility this past year? You'll get all the answers and more. If you're 59 and a half or older, you don't want to miss this event.
Join the official financial advisors of my show, Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw, Tuesday, January 24th at the Frontenac Hilton at 6:30. Go online at retirementkey.com. That's retirementkey.com.
Join Mark Patrick seminars and lose the weight guaranteed, only $49.99. Hypnosis designed to destroy unwanted cravings, late-day eating binges, boredom eating, stress eating. Also, stop smoking with Mark Patrick. No matter how many times you tried to quit, This hypnosis is designed to destroy your desire to smoke without cravings, irritability, weight gain, or your money back. Seminars Wednesday, February 1st at the Holiday Inn Express Suites St. Louis Airport in St. Louis, and Thursday, February 2nd at the 4 Points by Sheraton St. Louis Fairview Heights in Fairview Heights. Weight loss seminar 5:30 p.m. Stop smoking seminar 8 p.m. Sign up at markpatrickseminars.com.
The Mark Reardon Show.
What was this goofy thing with the rules in the House about the dress code?
I went over into the Senate, got our rules done within minutes.
Yeah,
and they were
tell ya.
arguing about sleeves on women.
I mean, that was right to their arms.
Weekdays from 3 to 6.
St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
I wonder if those whispering pines ever told our secrets. 'Cause if I had one too many, I'll tell you mine. A story of how the first cut is the deepest, and how some old flames just don't fade the time. We were battle rockets in a summer love, shooting for the stars. We were blowing up moonlight kisses in a Chevrolet bed.
This is the Annie Frey Show. Interact with Annie on Facebook. The Annie Frey Show.
If I tell you I knew what I was doing, I'm a liar. I was trying to play it cool with the girl on fire.
Welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. That's a new song I sent to you, right?
Yep.
Do you know all these songs, these country songs when I send them to you?
Not all of them. I didn't know this one, but that artist, his name is not coming to my mind right now, but I have never heard of him, but he was really good.
Yeah. It is not Alicia Keys.
No, it's not.
Country. Cameron Marlowe.
Cameron with a K.
Yes. First one came up was Alicia Keys. Girl on Fire.
Girl on Fire. I know. I had to dig in our folder.
I've been, especially over the Christmas break, I had my Sirius on in my car, and we poke around. It's one of the ways that we keep. There's a Disney Channel, so
yeah.
When you got kids in the car and you're like, "Shut up!"
If you know, you know.
Without yelling, "Shut up!" You just turn on the Disney Channel for like a song.
You think Sirius XM is worth it?
I personally listen to Y98, and I will listen to KZK from time to time, and then a lot of talk radio. I just poke in there for kids, and it's just like long-term stuff. So it was with the van when I got it. But there are times where we will be poking around on the country stations and just hear new music. And it's so I'm always sending pictures of my dash to Hannah, like, put this song in. And some of them, the other station I like to listen to, if I'm in the car by myself and I'm not listening to talk, I listen to 40s Junction on Sirius. And it's big band, classical, and jazz, like classic, not classical.
Like Glenn Miller Band.
Standards. I don't know. Glenn Miller Band?
The Glenn Miller Band.
Is that different than the Steve Miller Band?
Yes.
Okay.
It's a lot different.
If you were to play me songs and say, is it Steve Miller Band or Glenn Miller Band? I wouldn't know which one to guess.
There's some
I know that there would
songs-
be a distinction.
There's some songs that you send me that I just know I'm going to put in Wiggins America's.
I know. That's why I sent them to you. And they mostly come from 40s Junction.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do.
There is an entire song, I think it was called Java Jive. It was an entire song from the 40s about beans. Did I send that to you? It's the one I said yes, I think. But it's the whole song is supposed to be about like coffee and coffee beans.
Okay, yep.
But they talk about all kinds of beans in there. I'm like, you could do anything.
I like
in the 40s, leading up to the 40s.
The Amos Moses one that it talks about the alligator, him fighting an alligator.
Yes! Like, I mean, I don't know if there were drugs involved in the writing of these songs or if these people, I see there's a fine line between being under the influence and spending all of your time around little kids.
Yeah.
Because when you're trying to relate on a daily basis to young children, you just find yourself doing really ridiculous things. Songs, rhymes, they start to be upset and it's like you do dances for them and you're trying to make them happy. You're just doing anything. And then you get in the car and you turn on 40s Junction and you're like, I can relate to this song. It's about an alligator or coffee
Fighting
beans.
an alligator.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. TikTok challenges are a big thing. And Hannah, you know more about TikTok than we do. Can you kind of give us the concept of when people hear like there was a TikTok challenge, what does that mean?
A TikTok challenge is something that is trending. So a lot of the times when something's trending on TikTok, it either has a hashtag that regenerates a lot or a song, and the song typically is matched with a dance. And it means that that's what is on most people's For You page, and it's really popular.
You said For
and
You
trending.
page. So from what I understand, on TikTok, the For You page is kind of like what your Facebook feed would be. It's like the stuff that's curated for you.
For you, yeah. So it's kind of scary how a For You page generates, because that's where it kind of gets into it. It knows your information. It knows what you like. It looks at obviously like what you look up, but it looks at also videos that you like. It generates videos that go along with those, sounds, hashtags, stuff you look up. Like if you look up on Google a certain brand, that brand is going to generate in your For You page, and it calculates all of that. So TikTok challenges typically are I would say dances, but they also, I'm curious, Annie, of what you're going to talk about, ones that are killing people.
There's some scary things.
There are. Remember the cinnamon challenge? That wasn't a TikTok challenge per se, but that was a viral internet challenge, and that was very dangerous.
Eat a teaspoon of cinnamon or something?
Yes, a spoonful of cinnamon, and people like were choking. And I
was gonna say, what made it dangerous?
It's also the Tide Pod challenge.
Yeah, making it dangerous. You can't breathe. That's like, you can't congest that. And
then they film it.
And you know, people don't realize, like a 8-year-old little boy, if he sees someone doing a cinnamon challenge, like who knows, like he could do a really big spoonful and actually choke and like fully harm himself. Like he doesn't really know the repercussions of that, and that you can't congest a spoonful of cinnamon with nothing. Like you can't do that. Cinnamon challenge was really old. I'm not sure what the current TikTok challenges necessarily are. They're always changing, always evolving.
And
but people just are stupid.
But publicly stupid.
Yes.
And collectively publicly stupid. So you do something that is risky, you film it, that garners eyeballs and views, and then people say, oh, I got to do that too. I was reading an article previously that talked about how TikTok has the ability to inflate views. What you see on your TikTok, the views might not even actually be real views.
Oh, for sure.
And so you might see something and it's like, looks incredibly viral. That could be completely and totally inflated because it keeps the people coming back for more. It makes you feel like you're valuable because people are watching your stuff. That might not even be real.
Absolutely. Same thing with Instagram likes. You can buy your Instagram likes. You can buy your Instagram followers. And it's the app itself that promotes it. TikTok, if you create a TikTok and it doesn't really go viral, a thing will pop up and say like boost your video, and you pay like, I don't know what the cost is, but let's just say $20. $20 will buy you this amount of coins, and the coins buy you like likes and views and follows.
Do they just apply it to it, or do they just serve it until it gets that many?
I don't know for sure, but somehow it works, and that's just crazy to me. Like that's robots that are going to your profile. Why would you want that? No way there's real people.
Well, here's a story about where this is taking a really dark turn. And I think it's important to talk about these issues because I think that it's very simple to talk about TikTok in the capacity that it the brand or the application TikTok crosses shows like this or your news feed. It's always about, oh, TikTok bad, China bad, infiltration of your privacy bad. Yes, politically bad. Let's talk about things like this. It's an Argentinian girl who was on TikTok. She died after attempting a deadly choking challenge, which is apparently popular on TikTok. She was found with a rope wrapped around her neck when her father arrived home from work on Friday and discovered her lifeless body in her bedroom. Reports say she was live streaming the challenge to her friends from school at the time of her death. She had tried the challenge twice successfully, but failed to remove the noose on the third attempt. Soto's aunt claimed the student had received a WhatsApp message with a link to the challenge after getting bullied at school. The relative said, I believe someone encouraged her to do it. She suffered a lot with bullying. It's also known as the blackout challenge, the dangerous stunt that encourages participants to asphyxiate themselves until passing out. It was accused of killing at least 20 kids since the mid-2021 year. This is so incredibly dangerous. And you know, you could TikTok is a little bit of an exception of malice, in my opinion, where all social media can be very, very bad on influencing our children. But like many other things, there has to be a respect for the age and the youth and the natural ignorance that goes along with being a child and being given access to these things. I don't understand why any kid, and I don't even know yet where the age is that I feel like the brain is mature enough and the life experiences of a child are developed enough to hand over the power of social media influence to a child. But it's just mind-blowing to me to think that you would hand over a device to your kid who would ever use that unsupervised in this climate. I mean, you work with youth as a youth pastor, Brad, and I don't know, like, what is the phone usage or the influence that the devices have on these kids, the social media apps. You don't have to be on a device, like on a phone to use it, but I would assume that the phone is the gigantic portion of where this influence reaches the eyes and the minds of children. Do you notice how this affects kids?
Well, I would say that 100% of the kids in my youth group all have a device of some sort. And really, when they show up, you know, until I tell them to put it down, put it away, we're going to get on with the lesson, we're going to get on with the game or whatever. That's all they do is they sit there, their heads are down, they're on the phone.
Do they talk to each other?
They do, but they're usually talking about what's on their phone. They're showing funny pictures, they're showing memes or whatever. But yeah, just on the phone. And I mean, the parents are pretty good about like, hey, you need to get off that right now.
Well, I mean,
but
parents
still
are 100% good intentioned. No parent is handing over a device thinking about a 12-year-old Argentinian who's getting bullied at school who's going to do a TikTok challenge that's going to kill her.
Right. And I think too that the one thing that I have noticed with the parents at my and of the kids in my youth group is they're very good about monitoring what is on their child's devices. All the accounts, I'm thinking of one in particular, all the accounts are in this parent's name, everything. The passwords are in their name. There's no way for this child to get around it. You know, there's no password saved in the phone. If they want an app, if they want something, this parent has to enter the password, look in the app, approve it.
But
that's it.
I mean, I don't know who you're talking about and what measures they're putting in. Hannah, you're 21, so you're closer to being young than we are. And you've grown up in a truly digital social media age where, as Brad and I were in college when Facebook was invented. But it to me, you can put all those things in play, all of those protections in play. I'm around kids. They know how to get around all of it.
You can't truly protect.
And really when you go to that extent, your relationship with your child becomes, basically their personal security guard for their phone. And that, that hurts the relationships in other areas. So is there a way of doing it? No, but is there a way of 100% protecting your child from something all the time? Well, that's not possible either. So this is the hard part about being a parent is sometimes there's no good answers. And I know, like,
I think you have to ask yourself what the question is, though, because, if like what you're saying, if you suggest that always, I don't know how you just said it there, but like always having to police your kid's phone hurts your relationship in other ways.
Yeah. Like if your relationship, if you're all of your interaction with your kid, because this is what it would take to be that secure with your child's phone is to be, what are you doing on your phone? And that's all you're ever going to do. Then you're not going to have that other parent relationship with them. So sometimes the better answer is to be like, no phone.
Yep. Because to me, if like the part of my relationship with that I hurt with them Is my friendship with them? Newsflash, not your friend.
No, it's
not your friend.
Definitely not. But you don't want your whole relationship to be centered around. What I did when I was in junior high was my mom told me I wasn't allowed to do this on my phone, and that's basically all of our relationship. Our whole relationship in life was that. And no, that's not a healthy parent-child relationship either.
I think, like, Annie, I'm curious of how, like, when your older children advocate for a phone, what is your response?
Well, let's take a break, and I'll talk to you about that when we come back, because I can give you the experience that we have in my home, how my husband and I deal with it with each other on this issue, how we handle our kids. I have a teenager now. Oh my gosh, I have a teenager now, 10-year-old, and then 6 and 18 months, 19 months actually now. Gosh, they're getting older as I speak. It's unbelievable. But also that idea of being in a position to have a really good relationship with your kids. I know a lot of you listening right now are parents. I know a lot of you who are listening right now are parenting at this same time that I am. And I know a lot of you who are listening have parented and have kids who are older. I invite you to come join us on the Annie Frey YouTube channel and weigh in and give your advice, or help me learn from your mistakes so that I don't make them. Maybe help me feel a bit better for my mistakes, because we all make them. It's an interesting discussion to have, and it's kind of a scary one, but let's talk about it with my kids when we come back.
I was trying to play cool with a girl on fire.
If your New Year's resolution is to finally get the bath or shower of your dreams, Bath Fitter of St. Louis makes that process really easy. Mark Cox here for my friends at Bath Fitter. In just one day, with no demolition or mess, they can install a new bathtub or shower for you. Right now, you can get 20% off up to $1,000 or 5 years of no interest financing and a lifetime guarantee. Call them at 636-338-1648. That's 636-338-1648. And tell them Mark Cox sent you.
So rulerfoods.com is where you go to find the Ruler Foods that's near you. I was talking with my parents this weekend, and they said they went and shopped at Ruler Foods and tried to see what they had there. And they listed off a whole bunch of great products that they were able to buy there, and great prices as well. Eggs too. Go check out whatever your local Ruler Foods prices are, on great produce options as well. When you shop at Ruler Foods, you are going to give your grocery budget a break. This is important right now because Ruler Foods has Kroger brands at Ruler Foods prices, which means you can save money on many of those staples that you need in your pantry, in your refrigerator, in your freezer, to make that grocery budget alleviated quite a bit. I appreciate how Ruler Foods is laid out. We did multiple events at the Ruler Foods on West Clay Street in St. Charles, and I was shocked when I walked in at how nice the layout was and how easy it was to navigate the aisles at Ruler Foods. And of course, how amazingly kind all of the people who work at Ruler Foods are. They're so welcoming. I want you to give them the opportunity to help you save money on your grocery budget. Find the Ruler Foods near you. Go to rulerfoods.com.
Tune into the Del Walmsley Radio Show. Del, self-made millionaire and founder of Lifestyles Unlimited, will show you how to live the life of your dreams and pay for it with passive income.
Listen to the Del Walmsley Radio Show this Saturday afternoon from 1 to 2 p.m. on 97.1 FM Talk.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Air Comfort Service is celebrating 54 years of residential and commercial service, maintenance, and installation of heating and cooling systems. Get in your comfort zone. Visit aircomfortservice.com.
97.1 FM Talk.
Talk radio, and I love politics.
St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
I love it.
Everyone is welcome. The Annie Frey Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
Let me run with you tonight. I'll take you on a moonlight ride. There's someone I used to see, but she don't give a damn for me. But let me get...
Welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. Thanks for being with us this afternoon. We have a YouTube live chat poll up today. President Biden's possession of classified documents at his private home is one of three things: incompetence, malicious, or an unintended oversight? Join us on the Annie Frey YouTube channel in the live chat. That's where the poll is. And you can vote on that poll, and you can leave a comment if you want to. Hannah will read some of those reactions at 2:45 when she gives us the result of the poll. We've been talking about this TikTok challenge. There's an Argentinian girl. She's 12, and it's a blackout challenge. And basically, you asphyxiate yourself till you pass out, and you film it. Anybody hearing that goes, why would you do that? But she was being bullied at school, according to her family. And she was bullied into doing this, and it ended up costing her her life. It's so incredibly tragic. It's not everybody's experience when they use social media. It is the extreme, but it does happen. According to this Fox News report, that specific challenge had already taken 20 kids' lives since mid-2021. That's shocking. So the question is what are you supposed to do about it? Hannah, what was the question that you asked me right before we went to the break?
I asked you how you navigate the conversation with your older children about obtaining social media or a technical device or anything like that. How do you navigate that conversation?
My kids have definitely asked for phones. And it's important to understand when they ask for phones, they don't want what is a phone to you and to me? It's a way to call people or text. I think that they might be interested in the texting part a little bit. They don't want to call anybody other than maybe me, just for the sake of being able to do it. But
Right.
they want it's almost like a Game Boy to my kids at 13 and at 10. Probably more social for my 10-year-old girl and more of a device to play games for my 13-year-old boy. I don't think that should come as a shock to anybody. But I'm trying to think, and my husband and I have had this conversation, like we're trying to decide what void exists in our kids' life that needs to be filled in this manner. So is it entertainment? Is it communication? Is it socialization? And if it becomes socialization, like our kids have like Facebook Kids Messenger accounts, never ever would have happened if it weren't for COVID. You tell my kids that they can't go to school, they can't be with their friends, they can't be around their peers. We said this is an appropriate time to embrace digital technology, just like the rest of the world was having to do, so that they could message with their friends, they could FaceTime with their friends, and so on. I do not see a necessity in my kid's life right now for them to have access to a communication device if I'm willing to bust my butt, my husband is willing to bust his butt to make sure my kids are very socially active, around their peers as much as appropriate, and able to develop and foster good friendships with good kids in their class or on their ball team or whatever it might be. If that exists, I do not see really any upside to them having their own personal device. I just don't see it. And the fact that I think everybody in their classes, my two oldest, I think my kids are the only ones who don't have it.
Even in Jensen's class?
In 10, yeah, as a fifth grader, at least girls. Of all of the people who she socializes with, I don't know about every single one, but like the ones who are on the sports teams those are the ones I'm around because I helped coach both volleyball and basketball. I'm pretty certain at this point they all have phones. And I've explained it to her, like, you just really don't, I don't need you to have it. I don't think it's good for you. I'm so in the minority now as the mom in the group that it makes me want to look at that and say, all right, Annie, like, you can't say in my day, I didn't get a phone until I was 16. Nobody had phones until no kids had. Right. I was super early with my Nokia snake playing phone to have a phone. And the reason I did is because I turned 16 and my mom got a new phone. My phone number is my mom's old phone number from the late 90s. But there was no texting. The phone was not smart. It was dumb. Snake was pretty awesome. I was able to, I literally had 30 minutes a month of talk time which was maybe 8 a.m. till 9 p.m. And if you know, you know, but you would sit and you would look at your phone and it would say 8:58. And you go, oh, it's day forever. Then it would say 8:59. 9 o'clock, man, I had people to call and things to do.
Free nights and weekends.
Yes. There was no texting. I didn't know how to text when I had a phone.
Wasn't even a thing.
No, it didn't exist. And then all of a sudden it was available, but it was 10 cents per text message, which could add up fast.
Man, could you imagine that now?
No, because I don't want to talk on the phone. I will text anybody at any time of day or receive text. Totally fine with that. But I would prefer text over talking. I have noticed around my house or socially with when my kids are around their friends, as soon as the phones start coming out, they stop socializing with each other. And it's like, if the point of having a phone is to socialize with your friends, what's better than being with your friends? So I am being super stubborn about this. And there is maybe 1% of an itch saying, should you reconsider this? And then the 99% is like, heck no.
Do you think your kids understand?
So far.
You know, you mentioned this right at the beginning. You were talking about how you see all of the other parents out there that are they've all let their kids do it and blah, blah, blah. And it makes you go, well, maybe I'm being too harsh. And it puts that thought in the back of your head. But that's exactly why most parents, I feel like a lot of parents feel the same way you do about devices and stuff like that. It's like, my kid doesn't need a device, blah, 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 blah. But then they're like, but their friends all have it and they're left out. Am I just being a stick in the mud, all of this other stuff? And rather than sticking to their guns or sticking to their convictions, they're like, well, maybe it's just not a big deal. And
my kids actually do have a gun. A little rifle. I'm more okay with that than I am with a phone. I am not, this may come as a shock to some people, persuaded by what other people are doing.
Really?
No, it doesn't bother me if everybody else is doing it. It almost makes me want to do the other thing. This is very Brian Wigginsy of me. I want to do the other thing. My kids don't push it. But like I said, we work really hard to be involved in their lives and to make it so that they're involved in their friends' lives. And I will add that we have the last time that I upgraded my cell phone, we kept that phone. We didn't trade it in. We kept that phone.
The red phone.
The red phone. You know, it's the red phone.
Yeah.
That's funny. It's in a red case, which is the last case that I had on that phone. I think it's a Galaxy S9, maybe. I don't know. It's probably 6-7 years old. I don't know. And it's the spare phone. We have an extra line on that phone. It stays in our house and it's not used very much at all, but it is a house phone because we don't have a house. People don't have house phones anymore.
The landline.
Yeah. Well, I will talk about this a little bit more in the 2 o'clock hour, but we did a massive clean and purge in our house, and I found our old phones. It was just a phone, that you have whatever. And I was like, I miss it. There's something to me sentimental about a phone, just a plain old phone, and I threw them away. Because I was in the mood.
Whoa.
Yeah, just pitched him.
I can't wait to hear that conversation.
But we don't have a house phone. A lot of people don't have house phone numbers anymore. And so we kept that phone so that we would have something at the house. If we have a babysitter over or whatever, then my kids, I want them to have the ability to contact someone in the event that they needed to make an emergency phone call or to reach out to us. That phone will also go, if I'm sending my kids one place and not going to be there with them, if they go spend the night at somebody's house or if they're hanging out, spending the day with somebody, I want them to be able to contact me. I want my kids to be able to always feel like they can reach out to me and we're there. But that is the only way that phone gets put in their hands. And that might be maybe once or twice a month. So it's not as though they don't have that, but that's for my benefit. That's not for them and their entertainment benefit. I think it makes a big difference.
So how do you and Jared work together to come to the consensus of how you're going to navigate your kids?
Neither one of us, we're very similar, and neither one of us are like, should we get the kid a phone? Should we do that? It's really not. I have people messaging me right now saying like, hold the line, stay with it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering if there's anybody out there who thinks, no, Anna, you really need to break on this.
I wonder if there's anyone out there who didn't hold the line that wishes they would have.
I would like to hear from that as well.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
Should we take phone calls on this?
This might be a fun topic to take phone calls on.
Should we do it in the 2:00 hour? Okay. We'll do it when we come back at like 2:05. And maybe nobody wants to talk about this. And if you don't, that's fine too. But if you have a conversation about kids and phones, especially if you're the parent of a preteen or a teenager, or maybe a college age student that, to Brad's point, you wish you would have done it differently, I would love to hear from you. You can give me some advice. I came across this article on Yahoo, and the headline was, "They didn't try to be my friend. People are sharing things their parents did when they were kids that they appreciate as adults." Is there a huge difference, Brad? You and I grew up at the same time. You're a year older than I. We were born in the early 80s. I don't know. I can't speak to your experience. I'll ask for you here in a second. There was never a day in my life where I thought my parents were trying to be my friends. And I say that in the most complimentary way.
Yeah, no, absolutely the same for me. I didn't know what it would be like to have my parents as a friend until I was a grown adult, moved out of the house.
On your own, in
my
every
own,
way.
For quite a while. And so, yeah, no, my parents never were trying to be my friend.
You're super close to your mom.
Absolutely.
Is that something that either through your own personal experience or what you've noticed with your friends group growing up, were more parents friends to their kids, or do you feel like you grew up with a lot of people who had pretty like a definitive line, like there were the mean girls, I'm a cool mom?
I would say there's a mix, and even right now, I'm kind of struggling with that relationship with my mom. I'm 21. I still live at home with her, and it's hard because I feel like I have a sense of freedom, but she's still not my friend. I still live under her roof.
Is that because
I still have those rules that
that's
I always
how she
had.
treats the relationship?
Yeah.
She is your mother.
Yes, she's mom. And like some of my friends, they call their parents by their first name.
What?
If I called my mom by her first name, I would get spanked as a 21-year-old.
Hey, Chuck, get in here. I got something to say. No, that is not happening.
Yeah. So there's definitely some people I know that have very friendly relationships with their parents.
How long have they called them by their first names?
A while.
High school?
Yeah. I'm gonna share too much.
No, I'm just saying. No, don't. I mean, I would imagine that's something that happens.
Yeah.
And
I wonder if social media has pressure on that, if that makes people more friendly. Because if you're friends with your parents on social media and they're seeing what you share, you're seeing what they share, I wonder if you have more of a friendly relationship.
Man, that if I were friends with my parents if I lived with it, I wouldn't want to share anything on social media.
Man, when we started Facebook was 2004, maybe, I think it was. You had to have a college address. You had to have a .edu at the end of your email address to even get on Facebook.
I did not know that.
Yes. In the dark ages of the early 2000s. Oh, man, things have changed. All right, let's open the phones. If you have advice, Hannah's going to screen your phone call. If you have advice on what parents right now who are on the phone, do we, don't we conversation, we'd love to hear you. 314-241-9797. We'll be right back.
The federal government is hiring 87,000 new IRS employees and enforcement agents. Make no mistake, with spending out of control, they're looking to collect revenue. The first target will be you. If you have not paid your taxes or filed them in years, let me help you get that target off your back. Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm here in St. Louis. So if you have unfiled returns, wage levies, bank levies, or tax liens, now's the time to call the Lance Drury Law Firm before the IRS calls you. Your consultation is free, so don't put it off. The Lance Drury Law Firm focuses solely on tax resolution law. It's all we do. And if you have IRS problems, you have legal problems. Let us use our tax law resolution experience to guide you and work on your custom resolution plan. Call now. It's free and confidential. Call me, Lance Drury, at 314-260-6120 or go to LanceDruryLaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
When you hear Diamonds Direct, it's not just a catchy name designed to give the illusion of value. Our name is who we really are. Diamonds Direct was started by diamond cutters a quarter of a century ago. At our very core is a commitment to cut out the middleman and deliver extreme value in exquisite diamonds. Today, that's more true than ever, with our direct access to diamonds straight from the mines. Diamonds that we then cut and polish. Exquisite diamonds up to 15 and 20 carats in all shapes and sizes. It's an advantage other jewelers only dream of. By overseeing the entire process, we know for a fact Diamonds Direct is truly direct. So this year, as value becomes more important than ever, rest assured that Diamonds Direct's unique status in the world diamond market guarantees you the best no middleman direct importer price, period. And even with this extreme value promise, at Diamonds Direct you still get an unbeatable selection, transparent education, a luxurious shopping experience, superior customer service, no compromises. It's not having a cool name or clever advertising, it's the truth. Diamonds Direct, your love, our passion.
When you're an innovative business, every blinking cursor, every blank page is an opportunity. What will you do with it? Will you make something better or create something new? Our Dell Technologies advisors provide you with tools and expertise to do incredible things. Because we believe there's an innovator in all of us. For advice on smart PCs powered by Intel V Pro that's built for business, call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL.
Research shows listeners prefer a personalized experience. So to help you remember, Liberty Mutual customizes your home insurance. We personalized this ad for Amber, who really misses boy bands from the 90s.
Hey girl, I'm the cute one, here to tell you how Liberty Mutual customizes your home insurance so you only pay for what you need.
I'm the heartthrob. The only thing I love more than you is saving. And I'm the other boy in the band everyone forgot about.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
KFTK FM Florissant. From the Under Law Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com studio. 97.1 FM Talk. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Standing her ground. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. White House spokeswoman Karine Jean-Pierre facing another day of questions about the handling of classified documents.
We are consistent with what we have said on cooperating fully with the Department of Justice on this issue, and we will continue to cooperate fully with the special counsel.
Republican lawmakers want more information about documents found and who knew what when.
The White House says it is reviewing letters from the House Oversight Committee requesting more information about classified documents discovered at a private office in the private residence of President Biden.
Our commitment is to work in good faith with Congress. When they make a request, we're going to operate in good faith. We just expect that the members of Congress have the same good faith.
White House spokesman Ian Sams accuses Republicans of engaging in political stunts.
Fox's Jared Halpern at the White House, which is also pledging again not to interfere with the Justice Department as a special counsel probe continues. Jean-Pierre also reiterating the White House will not negotiate on the debt limit.
This should not be political brinksmanship. We should be dealing with the debt ceiling without conditions.
But House Speaker Kevin McCarthy wants to make a deal on spending limits.
If you had a child and you gave them a credit card and they kept raising it and they hit the limit, so you just raised it again, clean increase, and again and again. Would you just keep doing that, or would you change the behavior?
The U.S. is expected to hit its debt ceiling on Thursday, with the Treasury planning steps to avoid default, possibly until June. Just getting word the husband of a missing Massachusetts mom is now facing a murder charge. An arrest warrant issued for Brian Walsh, who's already in custody, accused of misleading investigators.
He said he last saw Anna around 6 a.m. New Year's Day when she left for the airport to go to Washington, D.C. for a work emergency, but there's no record she ever left the house.
Fox's Brian Yennis. America is listening to Fox News.
Some people get COVID and thought, well, that wasn't such a big deal. But you can get COVID again. And next time, it could be worse, especially for those 50 and older, or with a chronic condition like heart disease or diabetes. But with an updated vaccine, you have better protection from COVID's worst outcomes. And that's a big deal. Find updated COVID vaccines near you at vaccines.gov. We can do this. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
My heart was racing just making spaghetti. I could have waited to tell my doctor, but I didn't wait.
I was short of breath just reading a book. I could have delayed telling my doctor, but I didn't wait.
They told their doctors and found out they have atrial fibrillation, a condition which makes it about 5 times more likely to have a stroke. If you have one or more of these symptoms, irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness, this is no time to wait. Contact your doctor.
Brought to you by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Five.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Our high temperature this afternoon should top out at about 55 degrees with plenty of sunshine out there. Really quite nice. Tonight, increasing clouds, but all is dry, 38. Wednesday, a cloudy day. Rain for the afternoon. Could even be a rumble of thunder. All rain, though. 49 degrees. Rain ends quickly Wednesday evening. And Thursday, partly sunny and 45. Around 42 Friday and Saturday. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Let me talk to you about Stewart's American Mortgage and your personal mortgage situation. Did you get one in the last 90 days or so, maybe 4 months? Rates went up really high, and now they have come down a little bit. They're not as low as they've been, the historic lows. We've been talking about that for so long. What you need to know about Stewart's American Mortgage and how the bagel loan can help you is if you have recently gotten a mortgage and that mortgage rate is super high, you can refinance it, essentially no cost to you. There are no closing costs. There are no fees that are going to make this a punitive experience for you. You can lower your rate with the bagel loan and pay nothing in fees that other lenders out there will charge you for. 314-324-4440. That's 314-324-4440. Call Stewie and say, talk to me about the bagel loan and how you can help me get that lower rate on my mortgage. He is excited to speak with you. Mention the Annie Frey Show when you give him a ring. 314-324-4440. Google the bagel loan and MLS number 226715.
With inflation on the rise, you may be charging more to your credit card. But be careful. That increased debt can cause your credit score to suffer.
Don't get stuck with a low credit score and a mountain of high-interest credit card debt. Call Golden Oak Lending now.
Refinance with our low rates to wipe out your high-interest credit card debt and put extra cash in your pocket. Call 314-567-GOLD.
Golden Oak Lending, cured my blues.
NMLS 114937.
Nobody should have to pay for one-size-fits-all insurance coverage. Liberty Mutual customizes your car and home insurance, so you only pay for what you need. Liberty Mutual Insurance.
This is where real local and national accountability happens. This is 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
Right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
Happy Tuesday. Welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. Glad that you're here with us. We've got some phone calls here, and I'm going to take some more in just a second. And we're going to talk about an issue that is in my household, but is in many people's household. I'm basically asking you for advice, experience, and your thoughts on kids and phones and devices and social media and all of that. There was a 12-year-old girl in Argentina who participated in a TikTok blackout challenge. And it was a challenge to asphyxiate yourself until you pass out. She died from it, and she was 12. Apparently, she was bullied at school, according to some of the reports from relatives. It's just incredibly tragic. So if you would like to call us, we've got a couple open lines right now. I'm going to take some quick phone calls. We're going to let you say your piece and give me your advice. I can't wait to hear what you have to say. 314-241-9797. Before we do that, the YouTube live chat poll today, you can join us there as well, is President Biden's possession of classified documents at his private home is incompetence, malicious, or unintended oversight. You go to the YouTube poll and vote and leave a comment on that poll specifically. Hannah will highlight them at 2:45. And you can comment on this issue as well. So the question is, I've got a 13-year-old. I've got a 10-year-old. My husband and I are resolute in the understanding that now is not the time to give our kids a phone. So it's not like we're deliberating and you're going to solve a disagreement between my husband and I, because we're both standing firm at this point in time, no phone. We have one spare phone in our house that will go with the kiddos if they're going to be without us, especially if it's an overnight situation, or if my husband and I go out, which is just a funny concept. Does that ever happen? It doesn't. We're too busy. If we were to leave and there's a babysitter at home, the kids would have access to make a phone call to us if needed. But that is a phone in their hand in a very minority situation where it's our ability to communicate with them and vice versa. That's the function of that. What are your thoughts? What is your advice? Let's start with Greg. Greg, thank you for calling the Annie Frey Show. Glad to have you here.
Hi, thanks for having me. Love the show.
Thank you.
I spent about 30 years in the wireless industry, and I always thought, everybody needs a phone. You know, that was my livelihood, so I sold a phone to everyone. And I thought that it was a great idea that children had phones and that, you know, parents could keep in touch with them and track them and everywhere they wanted to go. And it was about when my daughter turned about 8 years old, her mother and I decided that we're probably going to go ahead and let her have one. We let her play on our phones all the time, play games, things like that. And thought it was very innocent and just okay to do. And it's the biggest mistake I've made. She's 15 now, and she has had issues with boys and issues with school and things like that, using the phone to not do things quite the honest way, because kids will do that.
Sure.
And she's used it for a lot of things that she, you know, probably shouldn't be using it for.
Yeah.
And it's been very difficult to monitor that, even though we put parental controls. Kids know how to get around those things. And it has amazed me just how little I actually knew about the industry, and where I thought I knew a lot.
Wow.
And kids are really smart these days. They know how to get around those things.
Does everybody
my daughter's done it with her friend.
Does everybody have a phone in her life? I mean, if she didn't have one now, would she be the only one who didn't?
She'd be the only one that didn't. Yeah, everyone has one.
Would you be okay with her being the only one who didn't? If you wouldn't have done it at 8 or whenever you started it, would you be okay? Like if you had the hindsight benefit of her not having it at all?
I would put a landline back in the house and leave it at that.
Yeah. Well, Greg,
I would wait until she's able to get a driver's license before she had one.
I appreciate that so much. Thank you for listening, and thank you for calling. I hope that you continue to navigate this and learn, and that I can learn from you.
Sure, definitely.
All right.
And by the way, for your poll, it's incompetence for sure.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much. What he's saying right there, 8 is really young. But I think where it starts is, and no criticism to Greg and his the parents, his wife or whatever, the idea of handing the phone over to play games. My husband and I don't do that either.
Mm-hmm.
That's my phone.
Yeah.
That is not your phone. And you do not have a job to replace said phone. If you break it, I'm not giving you my phone. If I hand my phone over to my kids to entertain them, that means I am out of options. And and generally speaking, I've already asked more of my child than I think my child should have to be asked in that capacity.
I mean, you guys have the movie screens in your minivan, and you don't let your kids watch movies unless it's an over.
Yeah.
I think that's reasonable.
Yeah. We get a little lazy about that from time to time, but it just depends on how much time we're spending in the car. If you want to give us a call, 314-241-9797. Scott, thank you for calling the Annie Frey Show. Would love to get your thoughts on this.
Hey, Annie, how are you today?
I'm doing okay.
So, to give you a little background, my kids are 2 years and 2 months apart. One just went off to college. The other one is a junior in high school now. They have both had a phone since they were 10. So my son before my daughter. The reason we made that decision was because we are a working household. They were home, going to the bus by themselves. We wanted some way for them to contact anyone if they needed help.
Yeah.
We have ran into numerous occasions while on the bus that they needed that phone to contact us because the school, not being named, didn't even know where their bus was.
Oh my gosh.
Now that being said, it is what all their friends do, and that's how they communicate, unlike how I did growing up. So it's definitely a learning curve for somebody who wasn't used to it.
Scott, do you feel like your kids, like socially speaking, in order to go into like the workforce and to imagine somebody being in sales and having spent their entire childhood looking down at their phone and like texting the person next to you or messaging the person next to you instead of talking to them. Do you feel like socially that the group of kids that they're around, do they spend more times on their phone than they do just like you said, the way you grew up?
I don't believe so. Now, it's their way of communicating while they're not together.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, my son just went off to Mizzou. Shout out to Mizzou.
Yeah.
But he, they went out, they did their buddy thing. They always, they had their fun, but that was the way they communicated at home. He went into the workforce, has had no issue there, and has done great in his first semester in college. So I just think it's this day and age. I wish they would communicate in person more to people, but I think it's something that we kind of created our own monster here, and it's the kind of the way of the world.
Mm. Well, thank you, Scott, for the phone call. I appreciate your experience and sharing it with us today.
No problem at all.
All right. Let's talk to Rosemary. Rosemary, thanks for calling the show. What do you think about like the proper age and the consequences of kids getting phones?
Hi, Annie. I love your show.
Thank you.
Yeah. I remember I have a son who is in high school, just started high school. He doesn't have a phone. And I am against giving young children phones. And I remember being at a playground. I used to take my son to the playground when he was younger, constantly. And I was playing with all the children along with my child because all the parents were sitting there on their phones.
Yeah.
I don't want to be the person that's on a phone in front of him. And he's in a lot of wonderful activities. He plays sports. He's in dance. He's in choir. He has so many things that he's proud of that he's done because he's not on a phone, and he doesn't need to be gossiping and doing all these things the kids are doing.
Mm-hmm.
He has a Switch he got for Christmas this year. And I don't let him play a bunch of games. I want him to study. I want him to do sports. I want him to have a childhood and a life. So I work really hard at that. And I don't want to be the parent that has to be constantly looking over my shoulder, always checking them. I don't want to be a warden. I want to be a mother.
Yeah.
And it is difficult because all of the parents have phones and they're always on them.
Rosemary, thank you for the phone call. I appreciate it. I think that like what she's saying, I really have that same mentality that I want my kid to be involved in things and to see their friends and to be able to be active with peer level groups. And I completely think that is incredibly important to make sure that they are socially active and that doesn't get replaced with a device. To me, it's complicated to assess what parents are doing on their phones when they're around kids, because I think the assumption is if an adult is looking down at their phones, you just think they're scrolling Facebook or whatever. I remember when I was a younger mom, there would be days like I would take off and go on a field trip with the kids to the park or something like that. And I would be checking my phone because I was still working. And the only way that I could be in that capacity with my kid was to continue to be a working mom. I had to do both at the same time. So I'm hesitant. I don't really care what adults do with their phones, but it's more about, to me, what the kids are doing. Mona, thank you for calling the Annie Frey Show. What do you think?
I've got a little different perspective. I'm a grandmother, and my daughter is a prosecutor in another state, and she prosecutes primarily child abuse and child sex abuse cases. She has 2 daughters, the older of whom is 10. And based on what my daughter has been doing for the last 6 years, My granddaughters would be lucky if they get a phone when they go to college. My daughter told me that everything that you try and protect your child from comes into your home with your child when you give them a smartphone.
Yeah.
And people don't understand how much is on a smartphone that has bad intentions that can get a hold of your child via their phone.
That's an interesting perspective.
She's actually had some experts come to her child's school because at 10, a lot of the kids now have phones, and they've had some experts come and tell parents what's been going on and what can happen, especially with girls. Girls are a little bit more vulnerable to it, apparently. And it's actually pretty frightening, and people just don't understand. They think, like you said, you're on Facebook, you're talking to your friends, and that's just not always the case. People tell you they're your friend, and you don't know who they are, and then they turn out to be not a child at all.
Mona, thank you for the phone call. I appreciate that. From the grandmother of kids whose mom is a prosecutor.
Wow. Well, that's something to always keep in mind. It's not a doorway's two ways. Things can go out, but things can also come in, and you're opening a door to allowing a lot into your home.
Yeah. Laura, thank you for calling the Annie Frey Show. What do you think?
Hi, Annie. Yeah, I have a 24-year-old and a 21-year-old. We gave them phones when they were younger, but they didn't get a smartphone until they were in high school.
Yeah.
We kind of had to get a hold of them during they played soccer. I think it's a learning tool in a couple different ways besides, using it for Google and looking things up, which is good. That's a good thing. It's a learning tool in that you're going to have this the rest of your life or something even more invasive to your life. And you need to learn to self-regulate. I'm still preaching to my kids on self-regulation because I need to self-regulate as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Laura, I think that's a great point. I appreciate that. And knowing that your kids are going to go into this scenario, Laura, where you are, at 18, if you handed over a phone for the first time, they would get all that power, of course, to be able to do whatever a phone can do. It just, everything that goes with it, I hesitate on, learn how to manage the entire power of the internet at 13 years old.
Ooh.
That makes me a little concerned. Let's go to Jeff. Jeff, thanks for calling the show.
Yes, ma'am. How are you?
I'm doing okay. What do you think about the issue?
I have a 3-year-old that has a phone.
Your 3-year-old has a phone. What does your 3-year-old do with a phone?
He's autistic.
Mm-hmm.
So he communicates with it. He's nonverbal. So there's some programs on there that he can tell us, I want, thank you, and
that's pretty
I'm
amazing.
hungry and things like that. And then a lot of YouTube. So he does a lot of, that's how he's learning his ABCs, his numbers, his songs, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But he can't get on the internet. I mean, he can get on YouTube. But it's all a parental control.
I would assume at 3 years old, there's probably not a lot of there's probably less intention to explore at 3 years old the internet. Would you say that your supervision of that usage at 3 would be different than at 8 versus
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, that's a very good practical use. Thank you, Jeff, for the phone call. I appreciate it. That's a very practical use for a phone at that age. Different than just handing it over to a kiddo and being like, here you go. What do you think? Real quick, Robert, what do you think about the phone usage for kids, social media?
Good afternoon, Annie. My kids are 16 and 13. Both of them have phones. You have to be diligent. Super diligent about all of the things that are available out there, due to the technology of these phones, if you're going to hand them over to kids. But I did want to make a specific comment in regards to social media. It's crap. A lot of it is absolute crap. And from my own experience, when I was on social media a handful of years ago, even friends and acquaintances, maybe I should say, and extended family members and people who, I like to associate with, after being around them on social media, I was ready to, take somebody by the collar. I think that that those platforms are an inherent way for people to communicate with each other in negative ways that they normally wouldn't if they were face to face or by other means of communication.
That's a really interesting way of putting it. And that is not a good way to teach kids how to communicate at such an formative age. Robert, thank you for the call. I appreciate it. Let's get to Kim here before we take a break. Kim, thanks for calling the show.
Hi, Kim. I appreciate what he just said. You've got to have rules and be consistent. My kids are old enough that they have Zynga to start out with, and then MySpace before Facebook and Twitter and all this stuff now. I had accounts in every one of those, and I had to be able to see their stuff. I had to have access. The thing that most concerns me is little kids having the phone in their hand. The gentleman whose child with autism, I absolutely understand that. I work in the special education field, and my biggest concern is I see 3- and 4-year-old kids coming into the special education preschool program because they don't have any clue how to talk, because you learn to talk by listening and learning from those around them. Their parents are not talking because they've got their face in their phone. If the kid starts to have a meltdown, the parents hand them the phone instead of teaching them how to manage their emotions. So phones are okay with supervision, but be a parent.
Yeah. Oh, amen to that, Kim. Well said. I want to get to Resmi here, who is talking about a challenge that I've heard of before. Thanks for calling the show. I'm going to end this segment with you. Go ahead and talk to us about this wait till 8th challenge.
Yeah, so my kids are both, one's 21 and the other one is 15. And we did the wait till 8th pledge. I found it on like Facebook or someplace, and somebody else was doing it. And it really helped when they were in grade school because I think everybody they knew had phones. But we were just like, no, you're too young. You're not responsible enough. And like having a phone is a responsibility. And so with that wait till 8th pledge, you wait until they're in 8th grade. You let them know about it. And even with that, the phone that they ended up getting is like our old phone, which, like doesn't have much memory. But they need to learn responsibility. And with that, waiting till 8th, it really worked out well because my kids, because they had to wait, I feel like it's better not to like give in to the instant gratification that a lot of these kids are like faced with. And they see all their friends, and I'm like, well, it doesn't make them any happier to have the phone because, well, and the phone that my kids got, and both of them, there's rules around it because we made it clear to them that they understood that once they got the phone, that it didn't belong to them, that it belongs to me, and that they get the privilege of using it, but not after 10 p.m.
Right.
So at 10 p.m. they have to turn it in, which, like it's challenging, but as a parent, you have to do what's best for your kids.
For sure.
And waiting till 8th, I think they're a little bit more aware of, they're a little bit more mature, not much, but, at 6th grade and 5th grade, I mean, they can barely keep track of their backpacks and their coats, let alone a phone.
Fact. Man, you know what you're talking about. I love it. Thank you for the call. I appreciate it. All right. Bye-bye. I what she's saying is exactly right. I mean, like there are some basic necessities, some basic skills in life that at 6th grade you do not know. I could bring that out past 6th grade a little bit. I mean, I'm just assuming if I knew kids that were that age, but I hear a lot of people making this suggestion of like not the smartphone. Maybe that's the solution. I don't think it scratches the itch that the kid wants, but I also don't care.
Well, yeah, if it's not the smartphone, if it's just a phone, and I don't know, they make some phones out there that have pre-programmed numbers and whatnot in it, then it serves the purpose of emergency contact. You can get a hold of mom and dad no matter what. And it doesn't serve the purpose of allowing the whole world into your home via the internet and putting too much on the kids at a young age to handle or comprehend.
Well, great conversation. A lot of people commenting as well on the live stream. Please join us there if you have more to discuss on this. You can go to the Annie Frey YouTube channel. We are live right now. And we could vote in the poll, the YouTube live chat poll for today as well. President Biden's possession of classified documents at his private home is incompetence, malicious, or Unintended Oversight, kind of sticking with the idea of kids and education and all of that stuff. There's a very famous celebrity who recently had a conversation with Glenn Beck, and he was talking about the reason why he kind of left the celebrity life to invest in the idea that America is good. Who is this celebrity? And what did he have to say? I'm going to bring it to you when we come back. Don't go away.
Sleight of hand and twist of fate. On a bed of nails, she makes me wait. And I wait without you. With or without you.
You're listening to The Annie Frey Show. Interact with Annie on Facebook. The Annie Frey Show.
Through the storm, we reach the shore.
The NFL playoffs live on Odyssey.
Throws, caught! Touchdown as time expires. Unbelievable turn of events.
Non-stop coverage from the biggest sports radio stations in the country. Podcasts dedicated to each NFL team and postseason games streaming live for free.
Takes the handoff, looks right, throws right, end zone, caught, touchdown.
Your playoffs, your Odyssey. Get in the game and download the free Odyssey app today.
So I want to talk to you about the current Closet Factory project that I have going on, closetfactory.com. In our house, we have a formal dining room. It's not fancy. It sounds fancy. It's not. It has a treadmill in it and backpacks and shoes and piles of kids' stuff, which is the story of my life. And Closet Factory came to my house, and we don't have a table to eat at in the dining room. The table is in the kitchen, and that's where the non-fancy Frey family eats. We have this room in our house, and it's not very functional because outside of where my treadmill is, I don't really use that room for anything. I have kids who do their homework at the dining room table or the kitchen bar area every night, and we have to move dinner stuff out of the way or whatever's at the table. It's a problem. We are going to, Closet Factory's been in the house. We have designs all drawn up, and we're finalizing the details. What they're going to do is they're going to put in built-in shelving desk stations that are going to have nice appearing locker-esque type of storage spaces for my kids to put their crap. That's so important to me. And if you understand all these people I'm just talking to about social media and stuff, you know the plight of kids and how they have so much stuff. They need a place to put their stuff. And right now we have not really provided a specific home for those book bags, for the shoes. You might have the need for that as well. Maybe that's nowhere near the custom organization solution that you need. Maybe you want your garage in order. Maybe you want really beautiful built-in storage for your entertainment space. Maybe you want to turn that bedroom in your house into a craft room or a music room or an exercise room. So you put some built-in storage with a Murphy bed in. So you still have your guest bed, but it's only there and down when the guests are there. Go to closetfactory.com for details on your customized storage needs. You're going to be blown away by what they can do. Closetfactory.com.
Mark Cox here. Join me, Annie Frey, and Mark Reardon, along with Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw for the next Protecting Your Retirement Educational event. It's Tuesday, January 24th at the Frontenac Hilton at 6:30. Seats are limited, so go online today at retirementkey.com. Here's Thomas with more.
Are you nearing retirement or already retired and concerned about losing even more money this year in your retirement accounts? Did you know if you're 59 and a half or older, you can now roll over your 401k tax-free to protect your nest egg from any more losses and still generate more income than most investment options. Would you like to know why our clients have not lost a penny with all the market volatility this past year? You'll get all the answers and more. If you're 59 and a half or older, you don't want to miss this event.
Join the official financial advisors of my show, Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw, Tuesday, January 24th at the Frontenac Hilton at 6:30. Go online at retirementkey.com. That's retirementkey.com.
Attention. Per the current government mandate, U.S.-based insurers are now required to cover at-home COVID testing kits with no out-of-pocket fees to you. If you have a current insurance plan, you are eligible to receive up to 8 COVID-19 tests shipped to you each month absolutely free, as long as the government mandate is in effect. Just visit testkitforfree.com to register now from the comfort of your own home. That's testkitforfree.com to receive your tests shipped to you at no cost. Go to testkitforfree.com today. Paid for by T. Health.
If you have ever thought about remodeling your bathroom but were worried it would take too long or cost too much, then stop worrying. Right now, Jacuzzi Bath Remodel has designed a collection of high-quality custom products and perfected the one-day remodeling experience so you can enjoy your new bathroom faster than ever before. It's a worry-free bath remodel from the most trusted brand name in the business, Jacuzzi. For a virtual or in-home appointment, call 800-826-9895. That's 800-826-9895. 800-826-9895.
I stopped smoking with Mark Patrick's hypnosis when nothing else worked. 1 year later, my wife Michelle and I attended the Mark Patrick weight loss hypnosis seminar. In 2 months, lost 43 pounds, and she lost 18 pounds. And we feel great.
Seminars, Wednesday, February 1st at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites, St. Louis Airport in St. Louis. And Thursday, February 2nd at the 4 Points by Sheraton St. Louis, Fairview Heights in Fairview Heights. Weight loss seminar, 5:30 p.m. Stop smoking seminar, 8 p.m. Sign up at markpatrickseminar.com.
If you're a fan of 97.1, get a t-shirt. Visit 971talk.com/merch to see all the new t-shirt designs and show your support for St. Louis's home for conservative talk. 97.1 FM Talk.
Caught my heart about 1-2 times. Don't need to question the reason I'm yours. I'm yours. I know the earth will lose a fight just to see a smile. Cause you got no flaws. No flaws. I'm not trying to be.
This is the Annie Frey Show. Follow Annie on Twitter @Annie Frey Show.
So what a man gotta do? What a man gotta do?
Welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. So, we're talking in the beginning of this hour about kids and social media and having your own devices and the influence that comes along with all of that. Like, how much is out there influencing your kids on any given day and any given minute? A lot. And when you grew up, when I grew up, there were a lot of things still trying to influence us, but you add in the internet and it is exponentially beyond our imagination how much influence people and what, and this is the other part that I don't think is talked about as much as it should, is the science behind influencing your kid. There are people whose job it is to influence your kid. They make lots of money trying to influence your kid. And has that always been the case? Have we always had ads on TV for toys and things that kids are going to go, Mom, Dad, I want this. I want. Of course we have. But right now it's on the internet. And right now we have children of all ages who have phones in their hands, who are receiving ads that people are paying to put in front of your child's eyes. That matters a lot. When you think about the different ways that kids are being influenced, you have to consider also their education. You have to consider the education system that exists. Now, Brad is married to a public school teacher. I am married to a public school teacher. And we have a little bit of a behind the curtain view of what it's like to be a kid in a public school these days because of the relationship we have with our spouses and the kitchen table issues that we would discuss about experiences and the pressures that are on these children today. What are some of the overarching messages that infiltrate your kid's life at any time? Listen to Richard Dreyfuss talking to Glenn Beck about this.
I gave up something I loved and had loved since I was 9 years old, only for something else I loved as much, which was saving my country. And I firmly believe that if we don't revive the study of civics, we will be dead before 2050. We'll have the same name long before, and it'll be a nightmare. So, I had led a blessed life, and I gave it up for a blessed life. And I think that this book is not perfect, but boy, is it Richard. And it infuriates me that people don't understand what this place means, what an advance on human progress this country is all about, and how quickly we can abandon it without a second thought.
What you hear Richard Dreyfuss talking about, the guy who is in Jaws and many other Mr. Helen's Opus, is he a known conservative of sorts?
I didn't know that about him.
I feel like I'm pretty in tune to all the people who've been publicly, even not raging liberal.
Mhm. It makes me wonder, like, how many of these people that we hear that are not raging liberals are actually kind of more conservative.
I definitely feel like you are going to go on record if you feel the value of the wokeness or the lefty, which in many cases, especially if you have obnoxious amounts of money. I understand how, if you are not well studied on issues, how you would feel as though some of these progressive causes would be helping. I also feel like if you were to be filthy rich, how you might be burdened a bit with the pressures of why do I have all of this and seeing so many people who don't. I think that there are very good people with very good hearts who have means and have a heart to care for other people, and it comes out that way. I would love to sit down and discuss with those people the whole plan of how does pushing a leftist interest group that is profiteering off of underprivileged people, like, let's look at the whole picture. And maybe at the end of that conversation, nobody changes their mind. But what Richard Dreyfuss is saying here, and that was in an interview with Glenn Beck, what Richard Dreyfuss is talking about is like the importance of civics, the understanding of what America is, knowing that we have to care about what America was intended to be so that we could continue to work in a way that is protective of it, that champions it, that celebrates the idea of being American. I mean, Brad, not the like bald eagle wearing, flag flying in your truck. I love all of that stuff. Like, if that's you, I'm not picking on you. I respect you. But I'm not talking about that right now. What does it mean to be American?
Man, that's hard to put into words. I have an idea of what it is in my head, but I think that part of it is understanding and appreciating what we have as a country, as far as understanding and appreciating that we have the right to do things in this country, to speak out against our government, where other countries, you don't have that right. So the freedom of speech, the freedom of assembly, the right to get together, guards against unlawful searches and seizures, the stuff that is laid out in the Constitution. What is it to be an American? Well, it's to be born here, to have these freedoms, to have a government that understands, or at least you hope understands and recognizes, that these freedoms are not given to you by the government, but are there, and the government is restricted by those freedoms. What is it to be an American? It's that, understanding that this is the first democracy in the history of the world that has lasted as long as it did, where the people get to vote and choose who they want to be their leadership, who they want to represent them, all the way down to the state level. All of these things are what it is to be an American. It isn't necessarily that, apple pie and all that other stuff, but
it doesn't hurt.
But yeah, that's pretty good, right?
I think what you're saying there, and this is how I would describe it, and it's not something that it doesn't belong. Like, the idea of being an American is not owned by the people who were born on American soil. It's an acknowledgement of the way it is. And it doesn't matter where you are. In my opinion, what it means to be American is to honor and respect the hierarchy of civilization. And to understand that, like, we are endowed by our creators certain inalienable rights that give us, not from another man that exists here. It says from God. I believe that. But those inherent rights that you have as a living, breathing human are yours, and they are no one's to take. There's no entity too powerful, too wealthy. There's no entity that is, by luck of the genetic lottery, born into or born out of those rights. They are yours. Doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter where you've been. They are yours. And the foundation of understanding that means that there has to be strong, fervent, consistent limitations on any collective body that would choose or pursue governance of you. And that the only way that a collective of people or a leader or an authority can come into your life and govern you is within the confines of an acknowledgement of those freedoms that exist because they are yours, not because they were provided to you, because if they're provided to you, they can be taken away. So acknowledging that means that we have to understand the responsibility that comes along with maintaining and protecting those rights. And I often fear that those movements that prey upon, as we spoke about just a little bit earlier, underprivileged groups, people who are born into poverty, people who are living in a historically marginalized demographic, to understand that those rights belong to each and every one of us equally, not because of any genetic lottery, any physical location. They are ours. And the protection of that has to be a primary goal. And what we see now is, especially in our educational climate, we are constantly told who is allowed to and who is not allowed to, what you have to do, what you're not allowed to do. All of these restrictions that are being placed on people by virtue of some entity delineating who gets to do what. Nope. Not here. That's not how it works here. And the ultimate responsibility of being willing to, and I say this about people in my life who have signed up and answered the ultimate call to serve this country, to protect that, those liberties and those freedoms, that is something worth dying for, because you sign up and say, I'll do it. I'll fight for it. I'll die for it. No government entity is out there saying you got to do this. You have to fight. We have people who are willing to step up and make that choice, to die for it, to risk their lives for it, to risk their children's mother for it, their children's father for it. That's what we have in this country. That has to be valued. It has to be celebrated. And what we do is we strip, in our culture, we strip all of that away right now. And what we are telling kids is, you are the most important thing. And if it doesn't feel good for you, don't do it. And anybody who ever makes you feel bad, they're bad. If you are focusing on you, you'll feel good when you focus on you. Do what makes you feel good. You're perfect the way you are. Nothing about you is bad. Nothing about you needs to be improved. Nothing about you needs to be changed. And anybody who tells you otherwise is the enemy. How could a society possibly function that way? It can't. Sometimes I wonder if that's the whole point. A dysfunctional society, because if it's dysfunctional, if there's chaos, which leads to fear, then somebody has to come in and regulate. And you can't take away those powers and freedoms that the individual in the United States has, those American values that we've celebrated so much. You can't do that in a calm and collective, peaceful society. People need to have fear, because if they have fear, they'll look for somebody to appease it. I think it all starts with getting back to celebrating what America is. And I guess the question is, what is America? We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, Hannah will come in here. Give us the results of the YouTube live chat poll today, which you need to go vote in. Why haven't you voted yet? There's still time. Hurry up. Go to the Annie Frey YouTube channel. President Biden's possession of classified documents at his private home is incompetence, malicious, or an unintended oversight. Oops. Let us know what you think. Leave a comment. Hannah will highlight them when we come back. Don't go away.
I'm sure.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show on St. Louis's home for conservative talk. This is ANN. I-E. Frey Show. The Annie Frey Show.
If you own a home in St. Louis and you want to sell it as is without any inspections or the need to make any repairs, call Chris Buys Homes, stlouis.com at 314-782-8000 and get your cash offer without any obligation, commissions, banks, or headaches. Chris buys vacant homes, inherited homes, fixer-uppers, beautiful homes, even the tenant who won't pay the rent apartment. Google us, Chris Buys Homes in St. Louis, and check out our best reviews from satisfied customers. When you sell to Chris, you decide when you want to move, according to your schedule and your terms. Go to our website, chrisbuyshomes.stlouis.com, or call Chris at 314-782-8000. That's 314-782-8000, and get the offer you've been waiting for. 314-782-8000.
Having somebody in your corner when you're trying to lose weight, that's huge. Now, I want to tell you, when you go to Slim 180 and you sign up, you get a free consultation. You sit down and you say, I need to lose weight. I need to lose 25 pounds. I've tried everything. I can't lose it. I don't think you guys are going to be able to help me lose it either, but I'm here because Annie said you could do it. Let them talk to you. Let them explain to you how their nutritional guidance program can help you still be able to eat a lot of the foods that you want to eat, but do so in a way that's going to show you markable progress. Let them talk to you about the HCG program, which I used to lose the baby weight after Molly and dropped about 28 pounds or so, I think was the net loss in a month with the HCG program at Slim 180. Talk to them about how they can help you establish, while you're losing the weight, workable habits that you can continue when you're not with Slim 180 anymore because you lost the weight and you're happy and you're doing your happy dance and you're wearing your skinny pants and all of that, how you can maintain that. Because when you lose weight with Slim 180, they can help you create lifestyle habits and changes that make it so that you can live your life and keep the weight off. Slim 180 is there to help you. Reach out to them and get the conversation started today. Be sure to mention the Annie Frey Show when you do. MySlim180.com.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job in ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Make sure you're heating your home safely this winter with a heating system check. And for all other heating services, repairs, or if you need a new heating or HVAC system, visit aircomfortservice.com.
St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
The Mark Reardon Show.
Brad Young is going to pinch hit Monday afternoon on The Reardon Show on 97.1 FM Talk. We're all back on Tuesday.
Weekdays from 3 to 6. The Mark Reardon Show on 97.1 FM Talk.
It ain't no joke, I like to buy the world a token, teach the world to sing it perfect.
This is the Annie Frey Show. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
This is a love attack. I know when our body's back, it's just like any fat. It retracts before impact, and just like fashion, it's a passion for the with it and hip. If you got the goods, they'll come in by it just to stay in the click.
Welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. Happy Tuesday. You got through the first day in a holiday week. Tomorrow's Wednesday already. Doesn't that feel kind of nice to say out loud?
Yes.
Brad's deciding on the issue.
I'm doing producer stuff over here.
Are you doing math? Are you trying to figure out what the out time is?
Nope, not yet. Out time is 58:50.
58:50?
Yeah.
Ooh,
That's an interesting one.
We usually try to have that conversation in hand signals in the background.
Wait, I lied. It's 57:50.
See? That's what happens
There
when
we
I interrupt
go.
him when he's doing math and say that's different. So now if you're watching at home, we're going to go till 2:57:50. And then I got to hit the post and get out of here. Otherwise,
And if
Mark
you're-
Reardon show goes, get the heck out of the
And
studio.
if you're watching, it's by this clock up above me.
Yes. Radio stuff. Every once in a while, Anna puts together these YouTube shorts for us, which if you haven't subscribed to the Annie Frey Show, guys, I'm telling you what, if we get to 5,000 subscribers before you guys do the 4,000 subscriber dance.
Listen, and I would like to point out,
Everybody's pointing at me.
You're the only one here who knows how to
yeah,
dance.
I am down. I'm ready to go. I'll make a fool out of myself. I don't care. But I am so not a dancing person that I can't even come up with a goofy dance.
You don't need to come up with it.
They're going to, Hannah and Anna. Anna said she'd help, right?
Yes. And I'll need her help.
Let's
With what I have
go!
planned, I'll need her help.
Something that's simple but looks cool. So you
no,
can
no,
make us look
Brad, you don't
awesome.
get input on this.
Please?
Brad, here's a little tip. Don't tell people you want it to look cool. It's just got to be cool. And it's up to
it's
Hannah
not
and
gonna
Anna.
be cool.
It's up to Hannah and Anna to make it so. We have
Let's
to
put
do it.
this at the top of my priority list.
Yes. Well,
Okay.
you should have to do it during the show.
Okay.
If we can't get it done, I mean, I'm looking right now.
Well, I didn't expect us to hit 5,000 so
I didn't
quickly.
I didn't either. 4,847 subscribers right now.
That went up from this morning.
I said,
I just looked at that.
You guys said that if we got 4,000 subscribers, you would do a dance. And we were like 200 away. It's like 3,800 or something. And then woof, everybody came and subscribed.
Yes.
And then we did a stupid conversation on the air about Elon Musk. And Anna made a YouTube short about us talking about this. And we added a lot of subscribers, but people are coming to the Annie Frey YouTube channel. I don't know why you haven't yet, but I feel like I should tell people to hold off on subscribing because you got to make the dance video.
Okay. Dance video.
What happens if we get to 5,000?
Now I have
before?
all these listeners that are going to hold me accountable, and I know they will.
You can tweet at her at @1HannahGibbs.
Oh, shoot.
And if we get to 5,000 subscribers before 4,000 before they get this video done, there are going to be consequences.
Consequences and repercussions.
So if you want to see what those consequences are, I have to come up with them. I'm running out of time here because y'all know I have 3 minutes to talk. I don't know what those consequences are, but if you want me to think of them quickly, then you just need to go subscribe right now. We'll hold Hannah accountable.
Oh, man. Okay.
Maybe Hannah will have to do a dance by herself.
Yeah, maybe.
I think Hannah should have to sing a solo.
Hannah and Anna. All right. Should we get
Hannah
to
doesn't
while
sing.
you're going to subscribe to the YouTube channel, Annie Frey, Frey, we have a YouTube poll every single day in the live chat area of said day's live broadcast. Hannah?
All right. Today's YouTube poll is asking President Biden's possession of classified documents at his private home is incompetence, malicious, or an unintended oversight. Votes have shot up since we last checked in at 12:45.
Because everybody's subscribing to the channel right now. By the way,
guys, calm down.
You said malicious.
Malicious, yeah. I think
saying
this is on purpose.
I'm saying malicious as well, which is to say that I think it was intentional.
Absolutely.
And for some sort of personal Biden gain, that doesn't mean he kept the nuclear codes. I hope he didn't have them. He's the VP. I don't think he has.
They change them every so often anyway.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah, maybe he was looking for a new code for his luggage.
Go to my
this is
luggage.
Brilliant.
All right, what do we got? What are the results?
Okay. 55% of the people said that Biden's possession of the documents was from incompetence. 55% of the people said that. 36% of the people said it was malicious, which is funny.
35?
36. 36% of the people. All of us on the show today voted malicious. And then 9% say it was unintended oversight. I'll get to some comments really quick here. GWib said Biden's documents could be unintentional, but the conspiracy theorist in me says this may have something to do with Hunter and his connections. The Corvette Gate thing is just the tip of the iceberg on how corrupt Biden and his family have been over the years. Good old Joe.
It's Mar-a-Lago, guys.
Really
Mar-a-Lago.
Mar-a-Lago.
So-
Libby says it's a combination of A and B, so I guess that means
Gotta pick one.
she's voting incompetence.
Somebody
and
said Ball said that it was Jesse Waters who came up with Mar-a-Lago. Somebody commented on here it was Greg Gutfeld, so they can duke it out.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Whatever it is, it's brilliant.
Brandon says when Biden is involved, incompetence is always high on the list, but malicious is definitely an option here too. Rala student, glad to see that you're back on our chat. Thank you for commenting.
Hello.
They said if Joe was an average Joe on trial, and I'm certain he would be found incompetent to stand trial.
Thanks.
Larry, okay. Larry says I voted malicious. He is intentionally hiding what I believe is his connection to money laundering.
All right. Vote that. Come back and vote every day in the YouTube live chat poll, but stay right here. Mark Reardon up next.
Congress has authorized trillions in new spending, along with doubling the size of the IRS agency in just the last few months. Do you think that is by accident? No, it is with a purpose to go after small businesses, employees, and individuals who have not filed or paid their taxes. If this is you, don't panic, just call. Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm in St. Louis. Interest and penalties on your tax bill won't stop until you take control. Call me, Lance Drury. I'll tell you in advance an affordable fee, which includes costs and expenses that works for your business and family. Your first visit to the Lance Drury Law Firm is free and confidential, so you have nothing to lose. Call me today. Remember, if you have IRS issues, you have legal issues. You need an attorney. You need us, the Lance Drury Law Firm. Call me, Lance Drury, at 314-260-6120 or go to Lance, DRURY law.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw of the Retirement Advisory Group are having another Protecting Your Retirement educational event. Are you going? I hope you are, because I would love to see you there. I'm going to be there at 6 o'clock. The event starts at 6:30 p.m. My friends Mark Cox and Mark Reardon going to be there as well. You get to sit down and listen to the Retirement Advisory Group folks, Thomas and Bob, talk about their process, how they can boast about never having a client lose a penny. They are there for you. They will help guide you into retirement so that you can exhale. So you have a worry-free retirement, but you do need to reserve your spot. It is January 24th. It's a Tuesday at the Plaza Frontenac Hilton Hotel, and it does start at 6:30 p.m., but you are going to reserve your spot, and I'll be there at 6, so come say hi. 314-993-9494 to reserve your spot. 314-993-9494. You can find them online at retirementkey.com.
KFTK FM Florissant. From the Under Law Injury Lawyers,